So I've got a good buddy who I grew up with who plays for Maine hockey, or, top 10 in the nation. I was just picking his brain last night about the Miracle on Ice, and he was like, it was such a part of his upbringing. I mean, because they all played hockey, and like it just was this day is just sacred.
I'll watch the movie. And if you've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's got the game on VHS, like the game itself. Grew up watching it, just idolizing those guys. It's awesome.
Where's he from?
Granville.
Okay.
Yeah. David Brazil. Big fan.
It's funny. They did the speech before the game against the Soviets. Those of us wanted to see Jeff Bridges do the legendary, legend has it, when they're trailing Finland 2-1 on Sunday, heading into the third period, and they have to win the gold. And Herb Brooks walked into the locker room and said, "To your effing grave." And they just all looked at him. He said, "You don't come back and win this game, you will take it to your effing grave," and walked out.
And there was no effing.
I figured that out.
We try not to swear on these lines, unless it's Pat or David Sampson.
Right.
Then they just
do whatever they want.
They do whatever they want.
Did Pat go to the game last night?
Probably.
Oh, if Pat misses an Everblades game, somebody's in the hospital or he's out of town.
Miami sucks.
They are terrible. They are terrible.
Wow.
But the Gators, they held in there.
That's a tough loss. That would have been a nice win for them.
It's a tough loss, but it doesn't really hurt them.
No. But
yeah, I know what you mean, though. That was a huge opportunity to maybe jump up a seed line.
Well,
9 or 2.
Forget that. They would have been a game back in the SEC.
Yeah.
Don't they play Alabama again? And now, granted, they lost to Tennessee, and Tennessee would have the tiebreaker on them. But still, I mean,
they were never going to win the SEC. I don't mean to be that guy, but
you are being that guy.
You're
just being that guy.
Let me get this straight. They would have gone to Kentucky and Alabama in the last 2 weeks and beat them both, and you're saying they can't win the SEC?
They were never going to win the SEC.
Okay.
It's the SEC. I'm a huge fan, though. I am. I bought a Gators t-shirt the other day. I was going to wear it today if they won.
Wow.
I did. Gator Nation. All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. We are over the hump. We can see the finish line from here. If we can't quite see it, we know where it is, though. We do. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. Doing well. Love Wednesday nights. That's our off night in the house. The daughter has nothing. It's the only night we know every week that we've got nothing. So we went out for a pizza last night. And how can you be in a bad mood when you go out for a family pizza?
A little ice cream afterwards?
No, there was enough pizza that we didn't even need dessert, David.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if it was a Lent thing and somebody had given up a certain something.
No, it wasn't even that. No one even asked. Everybody was so content with their pie.
Wow.
We went right home.
That sounds awesome.
Is a large pie enough for the three of you?
Probably not. The daughter has become a big fan of the Stromboli or the calzone wherever we go. So the wife and I got a pie. Daughter got a calzone.
Okay.
We were in your old stomping grounds last night.
Nice.
Did a little Grimaldi's. Fantastic pizza.
It is. It's very good. Well done. All right.
Have to eat it there, though. You know, there are pizza places that you can get a to-go pizza and you can take it home and it's fine. There are other places who serve a terrific pizza. You put that sucker in a box and take it home and it loses its luster. That's one of those places to me.
I agree.
That's an eat-in place.
I agree.
Got to make a trip.
I agree. Plus, it's got a real pizza joint ambiance to it. You can feel the heat from the big ovens. All right. I agree. You can sit inside, outside, but still, I'm with you. I'm with you. I never did it to go from Grimaldi's.
And you were close enough that you almost could have pulled it off.
I could have. Okay. But, I like my beer while waiting for the pizza. Okay.
You're one of those. You don't really time the order to show up right as the pizza's getting done. You'd rather just go to the place and say, I need a pizza to go. Can I have a draft beer?
Oh, well, there's no doubt I've done that. Absolutely. And I will pound the draft and they go, here's your pizza. I go, perfect. But I'll also, when I go, I will, I want the beer. I want the beer now. Okay. I'm actually not going to drink the beer with the pizza. I'm drinking the beer before the pizza. All right. That's how I operate. And I drink the way I eat, quickly. First beer, anyway. First beer is no chance. No chance. Man, do I pound a first beer. Second one, all right. I'll try to taste it. I'll try to go, what brand is this?
And then this is where Moulton becomes boring, because by the third beer, he goes to a diet soda.
Oh, yeah, I don't get to the third beer.
Right.
No.
Boring.
Yep. No, can I have some water, light ice, lemon? Yeah, I'm one of those. I tip well. Does that help? Okay, good. Sometimes, you're having that little back and forth with the wait staff and they give you that look like, oh, you're a bit of a pain. And that's sometimes when I feel the need to go, hey, I'm going to tip really well, though. Okay. It just, it'll be okay. I promise. And they kind of, okay, I'll hold you to it. So listen, another winning night. Had a chance to be a great night, but another winning night. Our system is working, baby. I did a guest radio spot in Huntsville, Alabama yesterday. I told them about our system.
Oh, great.
I did.
Spread the word. I love it.
I did. I said, here's the deal. Okay, this is what we've been doing. We've been hitting, unfortunately, the producer of the show listens to us and watches us on Twitch. And so he said, no, man, he's not BSing. They're on fire. All right. Okay. This has worked all year. All right. Good to know. Listen, we really had a 5-2 night last night. I think officially it's only a 3-2 night, but Trent was all over the Gators and the points at Alabama. And we did say, the South Florida UTSA game does fit one of our criterias, which is coming off the biggest win of the year. You bet against that team the next game. And while South Florida pulled it out in the final 2 minutes, because that's what they do this year. By the way, our buddy Stroud, who we had on the show, big defensive play down the stretch, 2 rebounds, and the assist on the game-winning bucket. But they didn't cover.
No, they did not. And they were the only, Florida team to win last night. Because the Gators played a really good game. Tough game against Alabama. Tough place to win. They were anywhere between that game was at 11 at one point. I think it closed at 9 from a point spread standpoint. Gators force overtime, end up losing by 5 in overtime in a terrific basketball game.
Up 9 with 6 minutes to go. Then it goes OT. Bama scores the first 7 points of the overtime. Gators cut it to 1 with 36 seconds to go. Couple of times down the stretch, they couldn't get the rebound.
No.
Bama's offensive rebounds led to 2 buckets late in overtime, and that was the difference.
And you know what? Bama's the better team, and they were at home, and it is what it is. But the Gators, 9.5 was way too many points for a team that has turned the corner. This is late February. They're playing their best basketball. They just beat Kentucky. Like David said before we got on the air, if they would have beat Alabama last night, they would have firmly had a chance to win the SEC. They're here.
That's the good news of Florida basketball. They in South Florida playing great. The Gators, I think you're right, have turned the corner. But Miami,
woo!
Final Four team a year ago.
Oh, baby.
And wow. One of the biggest disappointments in the country?
I mean, they did lose the guts of last year's team. But yeah, to completely fall off the map like this, because most of us regard him as a Hall of Fame coach. Jim Larrañaga is going to get into the Hall of Fame. He's already been a finalist. I don't think they put him in yet, but they're gonna. And yeah, remember a couple of weeks ago, I forget where they were, but he just sat on the bench.
Yes.
There was a timeout, and the players and everybody are huddling, just onto the court. And Larrañaga just sat on the bench for the timeout, kind of like, there's nothing for me to say to you guys. You guys aren't worth my time tonight. You're terrible.
And look, Duke's a good team, but they got blown off the floor
at home.
From the word go, too. It's one thing, sometimes our system's wrong, and I don't care whether we're not betting enough money to get all concerned with it, but it's been winning.
We're not betting enough money.
No, you were the one that set the limit on this.
I mean, Trent's wagering $2 or $3 a game, and I think we're wagering like $5.
I'm so happy, David, that I'm actually able to get enjoyment out of this little amount of action. This is a big deal for me. Because there was a time when there was 2 zeros after the 5
I understand.
on games like this. So for me to bet this little amount of money and still get this much joy out of it, it's fantastic.
Good.
But some of these times, some of these teams lose. They play hard. I mean, Penn State came back really nice last night, but at the end of the half, they're in the game. Miami, by the first media timeout, was done.
And you throw the word blowout around. Like, let's do a callback to our mollywop, because this was almost 30 points at home.
Wow. I got to write that down.
This was a mollywopping.
Mollywop.
This qualifies. I remember months ago we were joking about what qualifies as a mollywop. Losing by 29 at home from the jump, like Mark said. And we talk about letdown spots. This has been a letdown season for Miami.
But our system went 3-2 last night. But our picks between the three of us went 5-2. That's not bad. That's a good night at the office. It's a good night at the office.
I may have, you had your out-of-body experience a couple weeks ago when you forced a couple of NBA games on us.
Last week.
You were feeling it.
Leading into the All-Star break, we had won so much. I'm like, let me just get a few more wins in the books before we have to get to the All-Star break.
I may have made a couple of NHL futures bets last night.
Oh, okay. See, this is the good thing. See, when you bet such a little amount of money, that if it disappears, even though, our account has like $167 in it still, okay, if you make a couple of 2-3 bets and you happen to lose, if it says, 152 or 143, am I really going to know that it's the difference?
No. But yeah. We need the Devils to make the playoffs. That's all I'm saying right now.
Really?
And the Flyers not to.
Ooh, and then the Flyers go and win. And they're comfortably in third place right now in the division. They're not even worried about the whole wild cards yet. Aren't the Devils like 6 points out?
5.
5? Okay. All right. Not only that, the team they have to jump right now is your Wings.
Well, I have them jumping the Flyers, not the Red Wings.
I was going to say, or do you have them jumping the Lightning?
Anything's possible. Still quite a bit of time left in the NHL season, and it's going to be a battle in that conference for the final playoff spots as the Lightning. I don't know what they're going to do with the deadline, if anything. I don't know if they can do anything.
I don't know how many assets they have left.
Right.
If I was them, I would try to replace Ryan McDonough from 2 years ago. I actually think I know they've lost a lot up front. They seem to be losing 2 forwards a year in attrition, but I really think they need another defensive defenseman. That's what they need most, I think, for the playoffs. Remember, they got a Vasilevsky. It's kind of like having a Joe Burrow. All right. When you have a Vasilevsky, anything's possible, baby. Anything is possible. But so we had another good night last night. NBA season resumes tonight. Huh? No?
Let's hoop it up.
Okay.
Although you can't, the NBA, your team just keeps getting more and more bad news with their injuries.
See, I told you. Remember, I didn't get all excited when things are going well. It's kind of like I'm a Knicks fan. Something's got to happen here. This can't sustain. And sure enough, 4 guys get hurt, 2 of them starters, and right. One of them now may be out for the year. Great. That's fantastic. Oh, good. So, but not only that, it's weird. All-Star break. There's only 25 games left in the season. It's you think All-Star break, you're thinking halfway point.
Halfway, right?
No, man, we're like 2/3 of the way through the season. Not only that, to not have a trading deadline coming out of an All-Star break, the deadline was too early. The deadline should be in like.
Well, the All-Star game was too late.
Yeah, but I agree with that. But the trade deadline was too early. I mean, Miller and Moulton. When we come back, trip down memory lane, you're going to like it. In fact, you may love it.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, would you like me to play the Al Michaels call leading into this next segment or no?
No, save it for play of the day.
Okay.
If we're going to play it, I would only want to play like 8 to 10 seconds, the end.
Yeah, all I've got is 13 when he's counting down, and then I've got just crowd noise that I was going to fade out, so it's really only.
So you don't have the final minutes not available.
To be honest, I only looked for the "Do you believe in miracles?" but I'm sure I could find it. The Eruzione goal, I have the whole
sequence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that one we want to play.
Well, I thought we'd come out at the top of the hour and we would just go into it.
Okay.
No cue, nothing. You would just go from the
rejoin,
music, fade in. My question is, how many seconds is it before he scores?
The whole clip. I can play it for you. Hold on.
No, just figure it out.
Okay, 1 second. I'll report back.
Snarky on a betting heater. We had And if it wasn't for me and the NBA picks last week, I mean, we've been on fire.
David, 12 seconds before he scores is what I
Great. And I just figured with him on hold, we'd just play it. I mean, there's no intros needed.
No, that's a good deal. And then I'll fade down the music a lot quicker than usual, just so that you can hear everything.
Oh yeah, like immediately.
Yes.
All right, we still need a poll question.
We could go with Trent's suggestion. If you wanted to really get a lot of negative reaction, you could ask people their level of excitement for the second half of the post NBA All-Star break.
We can't even have a conversation without snark coming out first. And people want to know why, because here's what's going to happen. We snark it up for 10 minutes and it's, hey, time to go back on.
Sometimes I don't know if you guys are serious.
I'm always serious.
I'm starting to figure it out.
When it comes to the poll question, I'm always serious.
Well, do you believe in miracles? Yes in sports, or yes in life? Yes in both.
God, to say no, you're such a dink.
It's only in sports. Okay, if we're going to do it, and we put in parenthesis sports. Do you believe in miracles? Parenthesis sports. Yes, no.
No, parenthesis, I'm Russian.
No.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Remember the one documentary? Eruzione said we got, thousands and thousands of telegrams. And I just remember getting this telegram from this lady in Texas. And it simply said, beat those commie bastards.
Amazing.
Mm. Ooh, look at Arch there. Snarky and Hutch. Nice. New show name. Okay.
Watched the documentary last night on Netflix about We Are the World. Very good.
Ooh, it's on my list. What is it called? It's called The Greatest Night in Music or
The
something.
Greatest Night in Pop, I think.
Pop, yeah.
But I also watched a clip of Billy Joel's interview on Stern, and Stern's asked him about it. And he's talking about he told two stories. One,
we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. The starting five is a little more than 15 minutes away. We think we have a nice little show lined up today. There's a lot to talk about, a couple of big issues, but, a couple older guys on the show. One early approaching mid-50s, the other getting close to cashing in the IRAs. So, if you're of a certain age, you may remember where you were 44 years ago tonight. And if you're quickly doing math, that's February 22nd, 1980.
And that should tip it off.
Miracle on Ice was tonight. Mike Eruzione is going to join us at 8 o'clock. The captain, 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team?
That's what you call a good get.
Yeah, we did okay today. Then, just for the heck of it, Daniel Wallach, who's filed a brief before the Supreme Court about the whole Florida gaming compact. He's going to join us. So we think it's a pretty good 8 o'clock hour. You got to tolerate us until then. but we think 8 to 9, we're doing okay. We're doing all right. You know what I'm curious about? When you and I were talking yesterday, because when the show ended yesterday, we didn't know that we'd get Eruzione. I was trying to get someone associated with the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team for the anniversary. But, gets are difficult. And I'm curious, Trent, this happened 20 years before you were born. And you're obviously a big sports fan. You want to be a sportscaster and be in this for your career. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened in American sports history. How aware of it are you? How fascinated are you by this? Did you watch the movie? Do you watch the documentaries? Is this something that your dad talked to you about? I'm just curious. The 80 Olympic hockey team, the Miracle on Ice, how much a part of your fandom is it?
I'm pretty aware. I mean, the word miracle is attached to this. I mean, when you think in life, when you hear the word miracle, you think of this team. That's how big of a deal it is. And to anyone who's my age, who was born 20 years after it happened, I mean, if you're a sports fan, you definitely know about this. You know the name Eruzione. You know about the speech. And it's awesome.
I had to laugh because my son, because of me, it's a big deal, but he loves the movie Miracle. And in the scene, he told me, he goes, yeah, now that he's 24 years old and hangs out in bars and things like that, he said, he goes, yep, he goes, we were out the other night, and when they do this, make him skate, and Herbie keeps going again. And they had a few beers, and every time they wanted another beer, they just would raise their bottle and go again.
Yes. But that's the kind of stuff, like for people our age, it's so ingrained in sports culture. And even for hockey, that's not exactly, it might be lowest on the totem pole as far as the 4 American major sports, as far as popularity goes. It's number 1 in that sport.
When the Lightning lost to the Panthers 9-2 the other night, I think it was Steve Carney, but somebody wrote, it's a good thing the NHL has a players association and you can't do what Herb Brooks did. Okay. And they literally said, because believe me, if a team needed, with the lights being turned out in the arena and everybody's going home, if a team needed to be brought back onto the ice and skated into the ground, it was the Lightning after tonight. So here we are 45 years later, and a sports writer is actually referencing it in a present-day NHL game. That's the aura that this team has. And
Eruzione never played hockey after that.
No.
Smartest decision he ever made.
Last goal he ever scored.
Correct.
Kind of a biggie.
Tough to beat GWG against the Russians.
Correct. On a Friday, late afternoon turned into evening in Lake Placid, and most of America, all of America, saw it on tape delay. There were parts of America, though, that saw it live if you got Canadian television, but there's also a decent chunk of America, including, Mark, where you grew up. You could listen to the game on Canadian radio live. If you were near the border, there were many people that were following the game either through Canadian TV or Canadian radio live. We did not have that luxury in the States. We had to wait until ABC came on at 8 o'clock.
Can I ask you guys what your memories are of that night?
I did not realize it was tape delayed. I was 10.
So when you saw it happen, that's when it happened.
When I saw it happen, that's when it happened. Same for my mom and for my dad, and I think for everybody in my neighborhood.
I knew it was tape delayed. Warner Wolf, who resides in Southwest Florida, was the sports guy on ABC7 in New York. He would leave actually a few months later and go to CBS, but he was still with ABC at the time. And they did a local newscast from 7:30 to 8 o'clock leading into the Olympics. And at the end of it, they did the sports. And Warner Wolf said, I'm about to show you the score of the USA-USSR hockey game. If you don't want to know it, turn away. Because he couldn't show highlights because the game hadn't been shown yet. You don't have the rights to show the highlights. So all he literally did, he had a big white, board, if you will. And he used to, his thing was he would hold up the board, Mets 4, Phillies 3. He'd throw the board and say, let's go to the videotape. That was his thing. Okay, well, he couldn't go to the videotape. So all he could do was hold up the board. I ran out of my mom's living room in our apartment into my bedroom. And I counted to like 15. And then I yelled at my mom, can I come back out? And she didn't know what I was talking about. And I waited a little longer and then I came back out because I didn't want to know. It was kind of like I would avoid the result of the Indy 500 all day. I wanted to watch it, for me, like you, Mark, live at 8 o'clock, even though obviously the race was held at noon. Look at it, it's bright sunshine. So, but I remember the night vividly. I remember the second period shots were like 16-3. They were skating us into the ice.
I mean, right into the ground.
Jim Craig
was playing the game of his life.
And the third period started the exact same way too. I mean, for an hour, Trent, we barely got the puck into the zone. I think we had 4 shots on goal in like 28 minutes of game action. Since we tied it at 2 at the end of the first, I think we had 4 shots on goal with like 12 or 13 minutes left in the game. And we got a power play. And it was, I think, the only one we got all game. And it was a legit power play. I mean, it was a wicked slash, and it changed everything. And they had not been calling penalties. The Russians scored their second goal on what should have been a penalty. They took out one of our guys. It was a clear trip, led to a 2-on-1 low, and they scored. I mean, it was awful. And it's like, wow, they're not going to call any penalties on the Russians all game. And sure enough, we got one with like 12, 13 minutes to go. It's like, son of a gun. Let's go.
Yeah, they officiated the Olympics much the way they officiated the Stanley Cup playoffs at that point. They weren't calling penalties.
But you got the one, and it was the one.
And they tied it, and then our guest at 8 o'clock took it over from there.
Picked up a bouncing puck and just fired it home.
Yep. Against the backup goalie. So many stories. For one 60-minute hockey game, the onion that can be peeled with that game is truly remarkable. And that's just of the game. Obviously, not everything else leading up to it, which is why it'll never be matched. So Mike Eruzione in 90 minutes. The starting 5 next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did we send the poll question out?
No.
How do we want to attack it?
With a better poll question. But I don't have one. I don't think anybody's going to answer no to that poll question.
Right.
Do you believe in sports miracles? On the anniversary, you're a communist if you answer no. You literally are a communist. The answer is yes, or I'm a communist. Those are the two answers.
Those are the options.
How about this? How about if we go with something that's most unlikely to happen in honor of the, U.S.
Right.
victory, in honor of the Miracle on Ice tonight? What's the next sports miracle? Lions win the Super Bowl, Browns win the Super Bowl, Bills win the Super Bowl.
I like it.
Leafs win the cup. Nobody would care, but for the hockey fan, they'd be like, "Oh, it's pretty good."
Well, what if we just picked one from each sport? Browns.
Yeah, give me an NBA team that anybody would care about putting up there.
The Knicks.
Well,
they're good this year.
It's been since '73.
Yeah.
I guess you could put the Knicks. I get there's 6-7 people care.
Because all the teams that haven't won are, it's like Sacramento and.
Who's left in baseball though?
Seattle.
Well, they've never won it. Never been.
Yeah, that's a good one. Warner Wolf. That's a name that I know, right? I mean,
he was in a couple of the Rocky movies, which are iconic.
Oh, are they ever?
Is that the a-hole moment of the day? Did I just
no?
No,
it is iconic. You were speaking truths. I don't even look at it as sarcasm when you're being that accurate.
Gotcha.
In honor of the Miracle on Ice, which sports miracle would you most like to see?
Ooh.
Browns, Mariners, Knicks, Leafs.
Canes win the college football playoff.
I had Gators win the SEC. I was being really.
I know that would cross right over to a-hole moment of the day.
It's so funny you said that because I was right there. Nebraska wins the.
Florida State stays in the ACC. I mean,
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Mike Eruzione will join us at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. It was 44 years ago tonight that the Miracle on Ice took place. They had to solidify it 2 mornings later on a Sunday in Lake Placid. They had to beat Finland to win the gold. But the Miracle on Ice took place 44 years ago tonight. The captain of the 80 Olympic hockey team and the gentleman who scored the game-winning goal, Mike Eruzione, at 8 o'clock. Daniel Wallach, 2 hours from now, talk about this Florida gaming compact. He filed a brief before the Supreme Court. A, how much spare time does he have? B, what does that mean? And C, where is this whole situation with sports gambling in Florida before our nation's highest court? We'll talk to Daniel Wallach about that 2 hours from now. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Tell you what, can I put the starting 5 on hold for a few seconds?
Sure.
Can we get out a poll question? We've had a rough week with poll questions. We missed Tuesday. We made up for it yesterday by having like 14 of them. All right. And so didn't we settle on a theme? Something having to do with, in honor of big upsets, miracles, if you will. Isn't that kind of our...
Well, I say, in honor of the Miracle on Ice, which sports miracle would you most like to see? Huh. And we have the Lions winning the Super Bowl, the Knicks winning an NBA title. Okay. But this is a working, this is a working question right now.
We could go national with it. Like you just said, Lions or Browns or Bills for football, Knicks or someone else for NBA. We could, remember, the show was renamed earlier in the week. I mean, something having to do with snark. We had a suggestion this morning, Snarky and Hutch. So I'm just wondering, how much fun do we want to have at, say, the Florida schools?
Oh, which Florida sports miracle would you like to see?
Now
the Gators in an SEC championship?
Exactly. The Canes in the college football playoff. We're being snarky. Mm-hmm. How about this? Florida State stays in the ACC. Huh? See where we're going here?
Yeah, but I don't even think Florida State fan wants to see that.
No, I know. I know.
But I like where your head's at.
By the way, it's funny. A couple of national columnists yesterday. You know what they wrote, Mark? They said, when Florida State leaves the ACC, who's the first school that the ACC is going to go after? South Florida. Huh? Really? Wow.
Tip of the cap to them, David. Good hard work.
Right. They'll get all the credit for that. Okay, here we go. Speaking of college football, the playoff committee, man, they talked a lot yesterday. I wish they had televised this sucker. This would have been good TV. So we got 12 teams these next 2 years. Mark, apparently that may be the only 2 years we have 12. Because, they're debating 3 things. Access, that's how many teams can get in from how many conferences. Distribution of the money.
That's a biggie.
Well, the Big Ten and the SEC reportedly proposed that they get 8 of the 12 bids. And you other 7 conferences in Notre Dame, you fight it out for the other 4. So the Big Ten and the SEC reportedly, right at the beginning of the meeting, let everybody know, okay, we're the ones supplying the footballs, okay? You guys are going to be happy with what you get. That's why there's now talk of expanding it from 12 to 14 so that everybody can have their proverbial cake and eat it too, if you know what I mean. There's enough spots for the other conferences, and the big boys can get what they want, which is 4 each. The other thing they're arguing over is governance, which I have to admit, I mean...
Isn't the sport arguing over that right now?
I was going to say, has the sport ever been governed? I mean, please, the sport's been done by polls and popularity for, well, ever. I mean, so are they talking about, like, how are we going to pick the teams? Well, we're going to let ESPN and Fox pick the teams. That's just what we did last year. I digress. So currently, this is important. Currently, 80% of the money is distributed amongst the Power 5 conferences, and the other 20% goes to everyone else. Yeah, the Big Ten and the SEC have already said, yeah, that's changing right now. I mean, they're talking like they want 60% of the money to go to them. And then you guys...
Well, they're going to have 75% of the teams every year. Asking for 60% of the money is not all bad.
Well, I don't know if it's 75. I mean, let's just say, first off, 8 out of 12 would be 67%. But let's just say it's 8 out of 14. That's 57%. So that's, figure out this is the direction they're going in. Just so everybody knows, this is what took place in Dallas yesterday. Man, all it is arguing about money. Money and power and influence. Anybody think this is good for the sport long term? Anybody? Does anybody think this isn't going to lead to the SEC and the Big Ten becoming the NFC and the AFC about 2030 something? Anybody?
If it takes that long, David.
Well, that's basically what the sense was yesterday, that if the others didn't agree to what the Big Ten and the SEC were proposing, that the Big Ten and the SEC are like, we could take our ball and leave by 2026 if we want. We could just do this 12-team playoff for 2 years. You guys do whatever the hell you want. And then we'll do our own thing, and the TV networks will come with us. So we think you should listen to what we have to say. How about that for a meeting, huh? Was that fun? How's that steak taste last night? If you're with the Big 12 or the Mountain West or what have you, huh?
Really the Big 12, because they thought they'd fixed everything and they got themselves back in the game, if you will. And the Big Ten and the SEC just tapped him on the head and said, no, not working that way.
Bill Hancock, the executive director, says, everything needs to be worked out within a month. Whatever. Alabama fired Eli Gold, the voice of Alabama football since the final days of the Reagan administration, 1988. No more Eli Gold as the voice of Alabama football. Eli turns 71 next season. He had major health problems the last 2 years. He missed all of 2022 with pancreatic cancer, it turned out. He only did the home games last year and the Iron Bowl. I knew his health wasn't good when he didn't make it to Atlanta for the SEC title game. I'm like, ooh, it's only a 3-hour ride and a short flight. But I think if Nick, for what it's worth, was still there, Eli would still be doing home games. I don't think Nick would have let him cut bait on Eli. Nick liked Eli. Eli did his coach's show. Nick respects history and tradition. I think Eli would still be doing home games. Chris Stewart, who had filled in for Eli and does Alabama basketball, he obviously was the heir apparent. I think they would have done the half and half deal until Nick left. But since Nick left, there you go. Amazon, by the way, is going to pay $150 million for an NFL playoff game. That's $40 to $50 million more than what NBC paid for
Peacock.
So $150 million, we're going to have another streaming NFL playoff game next year, huh? How about that? College hoops. Our system worked last night. We won 3 out of 5. The ranked team on the road take the home dog. Unranked. It didn't the first game. Miami at home lost by 29 to Duke, but Penn State at home beats Illinois. George Mason at home beats Dayton. LSU at the buzzer beats Kentucky. Hell, we didn't just win 3 bets. The money line on those 3. New Mexico did beat Colorado State, but they didn't cover. So we went 3-2. Gators had Alabama in trouble, up 9 with 6 to play. Couldn't hold on, went to OT, lost 98-93. South Florida rallied late. They trailed much of the second half, close. But they got a bucket and a couple stops, hit some free throws, 66-61 over UTSA. St. John's, that team that just sucked and bad lateral movement, Mark. But they managed to beat Georgetown last night, 90-85. And I don't know if Mike Woodson's going to survive this Indiana thing. I really don't. They don't want to get rid of him. He's still a connection to Bobby Knight, and he's a former Indiana legend. I don't know about legend, but, legend. He was great when they were great. They were down 20 at the half at home to Nebraska. Lost by 15. I know Nebraska's a tournament team, but I don't know if Mike Woodson's going to survive. I just don't know. By the way, there were reports yesterday that the contract's already in the drawer with Sean Miller going to Ohio State. He's the current head coach of Xavier. They said this is like Ed Cooley last year leaving Providence for Georgetown. The thing's done. It's in the drawer. We'll see. Women's hoops, South Florida winner. UCF a loser. Did you hear the story? The Davidson team forfeited at Dayton for health reasons, non-COVID, but they won't say what. I mean, is this like a team-wide flu? I mean, did they?
Why wouldn't they say?
Did they eat?
I mean, that makes no sense. I'm sorry. I get HIPAA and I understand all that, but if you're missing a game and it's
forfeiting.
Not COVID, forfeiting
a game. It's not COVID, right? Can't just say we have the flu. I'm wondering, do they all go to the same in and out that they had at the
Genesis Invitational? Right.
Yeah. NHL, Flyers beat the Blackhawks 3-1, Buffalo over Montreal 3-2. I said it was a Stanley Cup final preview. Boston blew a 3-goal lead, but beat Edmonton in overtime 6-5. Charlie McAvoy, the game winner. Austin Matthews grew up in Arizona, played in Arizona last night, scored twice. Toronto beat the Coyotes 6-3. He's got 51 goals, fastest to get to 50 since Mario Lemieux in 96.
And I believe the fastest ever American to do so.
You are correct, sir. Columbus beat Anaheim 7-4. Lightning and Panthers both in action tonight. Baseball, Eric Hosmer announced his retirement. He's still owed 2 years at about $18 million per for a contract he signed back in 2017. That's good living. College baseball, UCF beat Miami 4-3. Gators all over North Florida. And Indiana State beat FGCU 5-2. Golf, PGA Tours in Mexico. Tony Finau, the defending champ. LPGA resumes in Thailand. Number 1 in the world, American Lilia Vu, the defending champion there. MLS season got underway last night. That Messi guy, remember Inter Miami? That was a thing. Were you paying attention last night? Is it still a thing? He had 2 assists. Inter Miami beat Real Salt Lake 2-0. And play resumes tonight in the NBA. Remember the NBA? LeBron's going to miss the game tonight against Golden State, though. He only played like 8 minutes in the All-Star game. He said, guys, my ankle's really not good. I'll try to play, but and so he played 8 minutes. He didn't play the whole second half, and he's already said, I ain't playing I guess they got like 3 games in 4 days coming out of the break, and he's like, I'm not going to play Thursday. I'll try to play both Friday and Sunday, but I ain't playing Thursday against the Warriors. Orlando's in Cleveland tonight, one of 12 games in the association. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So have we settled on the poll question yet, or are we still deciding whether we're going to be snarky or what?
It's still a work in progress.
Okay. But it's going to have something to do with, an extension of the Miracle on Ice, which was 44 years ago today, right?
That's going to happen.
Right. Sports miracle. What's the next sports miracle, you think will happen? Browns win the Super Bowl, that type of miracle.
Right.
I mean, like when I say that, does that even sound like possible?
No.
Because like when earlier you said the Knicks win the NBA title, I literally sat here and thought to myself, that's not even possible. And I'm a Knicks fan. And it just doesn't seem possible.
And for a lot of teams, I think there are a lot of people inserting their team into that sentence going, yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah. Is it possible? But see, 44 years ago tonight, let you know anything's possible.
They had just gotten drubbed by him.
10-3, 2 weeks earlier.
Drubbed.
Yeah. Drubbed. It was a Saturday night at Madison Square Garden, 10-3. Yeah. They got on the bus and went to Lake Placid. Now, that's a bus ride. Let me tell you, Manhattan to Lake Placid, hello.
Yeah, those weren't sleeper buses either.
No,
There's nothing comfortable about that bus ride.
No. Opening ceremonies, my blank, I can't move. Yep. What do you mean? We play Sweden when? Holy mackerel. So, Mike Eruzione in an hour.
And Daniel Wallach in 90 minutes to talk about sports gambling in the state of Florida and what that will entail with his brief to the Supreme Court and how that will affect things. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. Golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right. In honor of Miracle Ice, which sports miracle would you most like to see? I've got, I do think someone put in Men's World Cup. That's U.S. win the World Cup.
Yeah.
instead of would you most like to see is most likely to happen. You all right with those choices? Lions win the Super Bowl, Knicks win an NBA title, Browns win the Super Bowl, U.S. win the World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, I know we got some streaks out there. Leafs haven't won it since 67. Indians, Guardians haven't won it since 48. Yes, Ambien, if Colorado wins the Big 12, if the Big 12 is deemed to be one of the 5 best conferences that season, if that I misspoke. If Colorado is deemed to be one of the 5 best conference champions, they are in the playoff no matter what.
Which seems highly likely,
right,
in that conference.
Since there's 4 major conferences now, so you'd have to have, in theory, the SEC, Big Ten, ACC champion all better than you, and then you would need 2 other conference champions better than you. You know, Sun Belt, American Conference, USA, etc.
That Freddie Weeby interview was doing numbers.
Really?
Yes. It's the most downloaded podcast since I started working here.
There's a lot of Gator fans.
Oh, so the 2 things they didn't have. So on Stern's interview, I probably won't be able to get this through because we don't have enough time. But Stern's interview with Billy Joel said he and Springsteen, there was deli in the other room, and they kept getting deli, drinking beer the whole time. And
that was a great clip.
And the other one was Cyndi Lauper looked over at Billy Joel during when they're doing the chorus and goes, "It sounds like a Pepsi commercial."
A Pepsi commercial.
And the one thing you find out in the documentary is Al Jarreau was hammered. I mean, blind drunk.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. It was 44 years ago today. USA 4, USSR 3 in ice hockey. Mike Eruzione, the captain of the Miracle on Ice team, who scored the game-winning goal, scheduled to join us 1 hour from now. We're looking forward to that. In honor of the Miracle on Ice, which I think Miller and Moulton feel every year we should just stop and pause and contemplate it, talk about it a little bit more, makes you feel good, remember where you were when, makes you think about your sports fandom, makes you think about anything is possible, right? Anything's possible, Mark. Come on now. What were you, 10, 11? How old were you?
I got about 10.
Yeah. So anything's possible, baby. Beat the Soviets in hockey. Are you kidding me? What's not possible? The time, what, your Wings, Pistons, Tigers? We could do this.
Gosh, I never even would have thought about Wings, Pistons, Tigers. I was so wrapped up in those, however many days that took from the Sweden game to the Finland game. I was all in.
Yeah, it was like 11, 12 days. It was either, I don't know, was it Monday night? Was it the very first night was they showed hockey. USA Sweden. We pulled the goalie, scored it less than a minute to go, got a 2-2 tie out of it. And Ken Dryden kept telling us how big that was. You know, we needed to come out of this game with points. And then the next game we played Czechoslovakia, which was considered better than us, and
kicked the tar out of them. No. I mean, beat them and physically mauled them. And that's when America fell in love with Herb Brooks.
Well, it's 1980. And I said that, I know it's the obvious, but you got to remember how, from a language standpoint, how vanilla television was. Also, we didn't have the technology that we have now. We didn't have the mics as close to the action as we had now. And was it second period or third period? We're beating Czechoslovakia, because that's what they were known as then, not the Czech Republic. Okay, we're beating Czechoslovakia. And one of their players had a dirty hit on one of ours. And Brooks walks all the way to the edge of the bench. So he's the closest to the camera that he can get. And he's glaring at the Czechoslovakian player. And he says, you got to remember, we did not hear language like this on network television in February of 1980. And he looks right, he's looking into the camera, but he doesn't realize it. And he's pointing at the Czechoslovakian player, and he says, I'm going to take that co-host stick and shove it up your ass. And I don't even know if we're allowed to say that now. If so, I apologize. But yes, Mark, that was the moment which America said, he can speak for me.
And at that moment, we were, and that was Herb. That's the only thing that the movie Miracle does not accurately portray, is that by all accounts, Herb Brooks had an appreciation for a certain type of language and was very good at it.
Well, and remember, Disney made the movie.
Well, yes. And so the cursing came out, but by all accounts, Herb Brooks was a legendary curser. Legendary. And that just doesn't come from Miracle. I have some hockey. I've been around hockey and people that knew Herb Brooks really well and spoke fondly of him, but Herb could curse.
So, and then, they explained to us, it's like, okay, so we tied Sweden and we beat Czechoslovakia. So how did this work again? And it's just like getting out of your draw in the World Cup. It was like, oh, so those were the two best teams in our group. Oh, so if we beat now, it was like, I don't know, West Germany, Canada, Poland, something like that. And it's like, oh, we should be able to beat them. Wait a minute. Does that mean we're going to get?
And it wasn't even Canada. It was Romania. It
gotcha.
One of the German teams, Romania.
It was West Germany, who we'd always struggled with. I remember that Al and Ken were telling us, listen, we always lose to West Germany. Oh, okay. But obviously we won all the rest. But that's why, we entered the medal round, the semifinals. The Soviets and Finland advanced from the other side. Well, the Soviets had beaten Finland. So the Soviets entered the medal round with 2 points. You got 2 for a win, 1 for a tie, none for a loss. So the medal round started. It was Soviet Union 2, USA 1, Sweden 1, Finland nothing. And then you're going to play 2 more games. And they determined it at the end. So that's why it's not like it's done now. It's not like you have the 2 semifinals and the winners play for the gold. That's not how they did it then. It was just a medal round. Whoever had the most points at the end won. And so then when we beat the Soviets Friday night, we had 3 points. The Soviets still had 2. Sweden and Finland tied. So Sweden had 2 points. Finland had 1. Well, that's why there were actually so many medal possibilities going into Sunday. I mean, if we lose, and what if the Soviets and Sweden tie? What happens? What if the Soviets win and we lose? Well, the Soviets are going to win the gold.
And then goal differential and things like that.
Right.
I think there was a way we could have not even medaled had we.
I thought we were assured of a bronze.
Okay.
Right. I thought if we lost and something funky happened that we could have had the bronze. But But that's why we had to beat Finland. It wasn't the gold medal game. We were playing for points, and we needed 2. Because if we tied Finland, and we were trailing 2-1 going into the third, if we tied Finland and the Soviets beat Sweden, or the Swedes had beaten the Soviets, but really the Soviets had beaten Sweden, then we'd both have 4 points. And believe it or not, the first tiebreaker is not head-to-head. It was goal differential, and we were going to lose. How crazy would that have been? Wait a minute. We're tied. We beat you and they won?
Are the tiebreakers still like that?
No.
I was going to say, that's insane.
Now it's just a simple, you get out of you go to the medal round, you play a semifinal, it might even be more than that. It might even be a quarterfinal, semifinal, final.
So that's why it was done differently then. I mean, there's so much about it. The fact that it was the greatest sporting event in the history of our country, and I don't know how it'll ever be topped, and it was on tape delay. That just, I mean, to Trent's generation and what have you. I mean, that's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I can't even comprehend that.
Because the only team obviously if the men's soccer team won a World Cup.
Here we go.
That would be sports-wise at least on par.
That's as good of an equivalent as we can draw.
But I don't even think it's as good of an equivalent because we were playing college kids against their all-star pro team.
But it's as close as you can get with a comparison in the modern day.
Yes, but then you throw in all the political turmoil of the time. We're in the middle of the Cold War. And I don't know how it would have to be a game against I don't even know who you could play to drum that up.
Well, yeah, we're seen as the only superpower now. So, I mean, who out there is our equal? Who out there is we actually look at as an equal threat? We thought we were winning, but I mean, come on, it was close. I mean, February 1980, we're still kind of tied. That's a 52-48 battle going on there. We think we're going to win. No guarantees. Yeah. I'm with you, though. I think it's the only thing that would even remotely get the ball. I mean, but I'm talking about Cubs winning the World Series, Red Sox winning the World Series, pick, whatever football upset, NCAA tournament upset. I mean, I do think that 100 years from now, that USA 4, USSR 3 is still going to be the greatest upset in the history of American sport.
I don't see anything topping it. I really don't.
Think about it. We had a 16 beat a 1. We've had it happen twice now. Well, that's as good as that sport can deliver, right?
Correct.
We had a 9-7, or what was it? A 10-6. A 10-6 Giants team take out an 18-0 football team. 12.5 point dog in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's tough to imagine a much more hyped situation in the Super Bowl that we could equate. You could argue the two biggest upsets were Jets-Giants in Super Bowl history. I don't know if we're going to have one that's going to top it. We've had others that were right there. The Patriots over the Rams was right there.
When the Rays beat the Dodgers for the World Series this year, that'd be close.
Well, especially if they leave Blake Snell in. Okay, that'll be good.
But I mean, we had FAU get to the Final Four last year.
Right. Right. Well, hell, we had the 15 seed was in the Elite Eight.
St. Peter's. 1983, the Wolfpack wins it all as an 8 seed.
I actually think they were a 6 seed.
I thought they were an 8.
Nova won it as an 8. I think NC State was a 6.
Okay. Either way, there's been Cinderella in that sport. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So you're probably right. It's probably a men's soccer team winning the World Cup. And then also, obviously, the Olympics just happened to be in Lake Placid. They weren't in, name the country with a 5, 6, 8, 10-hour time difference, Although then again, we'd still be watching it on tape delay. Ba-dum-bum.
Unless, of course, you were lucky enough to watch it on CBC, where it's never on tape delay.
Right.
It's just live sports. So our poll question In honor of the miracle on ice, which sports miracle is most likely to happen? Not what you want to see, most likely to happen. The Lions winning the Super Bowl, the Knicks winning an NBA title, the Browns winning the Super Bowl, the U.S. winning the World Cup. What's most likely to happen? Go to FL Sports Network, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter.
They all seem so far-fetched. And I know the Lions were just really close. I get it. I know the Browns have had a couple of good teams lately. It's just saying it out loud. Hey, what's going to happen in 2026? Oh, the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. Wait, slap him in the face. You throw him in the cold shower.
That's just that one guy that got the tattoo there. Well, he'll live with that.
Right.
Even Trent, who's a believer, unlike many believers in that team, would be reluctant to get the Super Bowl champion tattoo until after it actually happened.
Can you just get the tattoo and you start it with a 2 and a 0? Is there any way to then finish it later on? Because you don't even want to do 2-0-2 because there's no guarantee it's going to happen this decade. Play of the day coming up.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see the Manziel interview with Shannon Sharp?
I did not.
Yes.
So he says to Sharp, well, when I left the Browns, I was 210. And in August of that year, I was 170. And Manziel's trying to keep talking, and Sharp goes, "How do you lose 40 pounds that quickly?" And he goes, "How do I lose 40 pounds? I was on a steady diet of blow."
We'll do it. Brutally honest.
That'll do it.
Ever, DC, ever.
Of these 4 options, which one I'm rocking with, but the U.S. men's national team in soccer, they're going to have a shot in 2026.
Okay, let me tell you right now, all 3 other things will happen before the U.S. wins the World Cup.
Okay. I don't know.
First off,
you're probably right.
First off,
only once every 4 years.
That's a huge thing going against them. Secondly, we are never, ever going to have our best athletes play soccer. Ever. And it doesn't matter how much the demographics of this country change. We'll always have. I don't see how. When do you think we will step on the pitch? And just from a talent standpoint, we'll be even with the Argentinas, Brazils of the world.
Probably never. It'd have to be like a very, very well coached, lucky.
Now, granted, our hockey team wasn't even in talent either, but I just oof.
Yeah, that's why it's a pretty good comparison.
Great question.
I don't know. I mean, in the full context, 2026 is going to be the best shot they've ever had. I think it's here in America. It's a young team that found a way to qualify in 2022.
Win.
Right. To win.
Let's just pump the brakes.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just
get out of group.
They got to. I mean, that's what's winning the poll right now.
Get to a quarterfinal. We've done that once. Get to a quarterfinal. It's actually the story that's not told. We were in the quarters against Germany, and we were outplaying them. And if we had the technology then that we had now, we scored a goal, and it didn't count. And then they committed a penalty in the box that wasn't called. And we end up losing 2-0. And most people, and for the first 60 minutes of that match, we were outplaying Germany in the quarterfinals of a World Cup. And it never got talked about because we've won
here we go.
Nothing since.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Mike Eruzione at the top of the hour. And if you go, that's a great get, but why Mike? Well, today's the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. February 22nd, 1980. It was a Friday. USA 4, USSR 3. I don't know. Got anything else you want to talk about? Makes you smile more than that? Huh? So Mike Eruzione coming up in 40 minutes time. Daniel Wallach, a little more than an hour. We'll talk the Florida Gaming Compact, whether or not it's going to stay as is. And the only way you're going to be able to bet in this state is through the Hard Rock and the Hard Rock app. Or is Florida going to end up like most every other state and, everybody else going to get invited in, all the sports books and what have you. So we'll see.
And quite frankly, the other part of this is if the West Flagler Group wins, will gambling be shut down? I mean, that's...
It's possible.
You're damn right it's possible.
It's possible.
At least for a period of time.
Right.
Boom.
And well,
Trent's like, hey, I told you guys I moved here for your show, but I really moved here because, they activated that Hard Rock app. Otherwise, I got to go back.
I've been lucky. I mean, I had Michigan and then Tennessee. It was legal both places there.
Right, but you've actually had it where you, as the gambler, have a choice and can see where the odds are best for the game you want to play.
Correct.
And while it may shut down, it would hopefully be for a short period before it reopened with everyone involved. That's what's best for the gambler. And when you hear, it might get shut down, the instant reaction is to do what you did. Oh, that's terrible. Well, it's not terrible long term. It would suck short term, but it would benefit the person who's betting as opposed to those who are collecting the bets.
Because the reason it would be getting shut down is because it's only going through one.
Correct.
And then, like you said, the long game here is it would open it up to multiple sports books, which is the case in most states that have legal gambling.
And besides the three of us who like to throw an occasional shekel or two on a sporting event, why we're interested in that, in all seriousness, it will be a boon or a bust for sports radio around the state. If everybody else is allowed into the state, sports radio will thrive. Now, you may only hear one gambling ad after another, but they will be throwing money at sports radio stations. If it's just the Seminole and the Hard Rock, well, they can pick and choose where they want to gamble.
David, it is noticeable. I mean, when I moved down here, it's noticeable that you don't see any of the gambling ads that you see in a Michigan or a Tennessee.
Totally.
Or States.
Absolutely.
Because every single commercial break, when you're watching football, for example, it's at least one, maybe two, maybe more. That's DraftKings or
sports radio in the Northeast, now that they have it in New York, New Jersey, and I don't know if they have it in Pennsylvania. I think they did recently. But literally every commercial on the radio is a fantasy sports gambling ad. And when you hear the occasional car dealer or lawyer, you go, oh, wow. How about this? All of a sudden you hear Pete's Pizzeria. You're like, wait, what? You mean they're allowed to actually run these ads now? I didn't think you were allowed to sell anything but sports gambling and fantasy football.
And it's unique because all these sports books are running their own promotions. They're running their own boosts that I love on the Hard Rock app. Things like that to try to reel you in. And it works.
Oh, it works for you. They don't even any boost they can give you, Trent, he's in.
In fact, we were talking about how we're going to rename the show. Miller and Moulton, what are we going to call it? I've got a nickname. How about Trent Boost Bally? Okay. If he was a hockey player, it would be, and on the wing, Boost Bally. They're not booing. They're chanting boost.
I got to win a boost before I can be boost. But hey, they are fun.
You keep firing. You keep firing, Trent.
We'll empty the clip on that one.
Especially those $1 and $2 boosts.
That's why they're so appealing, because you only have to put $2 on it, and you can win 18.
Yep. No, they haven't lured him in or anything.
No. Imagine him with money.
I know. 24 years old, and he's already this emotionally attached to it. Wow, guy's got no chance.
Stick around in the Diamond District bonus hour. These two guys will give their winners, and I will tell you what boost the Hard Rock app is running tonight.
Although Trent was all over the Gators last night. All over the Gators. So
playing their best basketball as we approach March.
And what might be the best conference?
The SEC? I think the Big 12
I think the Big 12 is the best, but the SEC's right on their heels.
There's no obvious answer for second place, I don't think. Because there's a case for the SEC. There's also a case, you're going to laugh at this. The Big East has 2 teams in the top 5. So,
and 3 of the top 15 if you count Creighton. No, the top of the Big East is good. I do think there's a conference that's getting picked on a little bit. I actually think there's a couple of teams in the ACC that are better than they're given credit for. If you do the blind resume with like the Pitts and the Wake Forests, and you compare them to like their equivalent in the Big Ten, and everybody's talking up those teams in the Big Ten. And right now, the ACC, this is remarkable to say this, the ACC in basketball is an image problem. They really do. It's like, there's only 2 good teams in the conference. And like, because every time Miami is good, they look at that as a negative on the conference. Well, hell, if Miami's at the top of the conference, how good can it be? Maybe they're just pretty good. So I'm telling you, the ACC is an image problem right now. You know, the Clemsons, the Wake Forest, the Pitts of the world, they're getting absolute no respect at all.
We give a lot of respect to this next segment. It's the play of the day. Trent Bally with our Molly Maid play of the day. Where are you going today?
I don't really need to sell this. I don't really need to set the table. This was David's idea. It was a brilliant one. We're just going to give you Al Michaels' call from 1980 in Lake Placid when the miracle on ice, happened. Here's the iconic call from Al.
11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles?
The eruption of that crowd when it officially hits 0 is just iconic, David.
It is, Trent. It was.
And there's your play of the day. Molly Maid taking a little stroll down memory lane here on the 44th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice.
Al Michaels had done 4 hockey games or something? I mean, he was the only person on ABC staff who had ever done anything associated with hockey. So they said, Al, you got to do the hockey. Ken Dryden was studying for the bar exam while doing the Olympics. He had just retired. He was studying like in between games. He was going back to his hotel room. He was studying for the bar. Here's the best part. Al and Ken do that game. You know, madness. Obviously, they got to do the next game that no one's going to see. But they have to do it just in case there's a problem. I mean, in old broadcasting, you did consolation games and what have you. You did. So the Soviets, it was Sweden, Finland.
Right.
And the arena's 3/4 empty. Everybody's partying on the streets. And Al and Ken can't go have a cocktail and celebrate the greatest sporting event in the history, of the world, basically. No.
They got to work for 3 more hours.
Yeah, they had 20 minutes to regroup, and they had to call Sweden, Finland, which 137 people were seeing somewhere. Because I don't even think it was going back to Sweden and Finland.
No, they would have had their own announcers doing it, whatever. That's our Molly Maid play of the day. 774-5839, 774-5839. Call today and give your spouse the gift of a clean house. Miller and Moulton. Mike Eruzione, the captain of the 1980 Olympic team, in 30 minutes, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So when you think of the great sports movies, does Miracle come to mind at all? Or is it more just you like
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Me either.
Because it's a documentary.
And the real thing is what you know.
But it's been so long ago. I mean, the movie I stop and watch it whenever it's on. I mean, when I still have HBO's package if
I'm sure it'll be the number one thing streamed on Disney Plus today. Or this week,
I wonder.
maybe.
People don't. We're a little bigger on this anniversary than everybody else
Well,
is.
that's true. That's true.
They allowed Penn State to absolutely commit felonies in that game to get back into it.
I didn't see the comeback, but X was on fire.
And then they call a foul on a 3-point. I mean, he hit him, but it was.
But to call that, I mean, you gotta. It's gotta be a mugging. By the way, April 12th is when I have to go to Michigan.
Okay.
For my next deal. It was supposed to be at the end of March, but I asked if we could push it out because I didn't want to miss any shows for March Madness. But April 12th, that's a Friday.
Okay.
And then after that, I'll be good till July.
Just book your ticket so you can save a little money if you haven't already.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Leaving Thursday after the show?
Yeah, Thursday after the show.
Did you see Messi dribble over the guy that was injured?
No. Sounds entertaining.
He just there's a guy down. He's just making a move, and he just bumps the ball over the guy that's laying on the ground and fires a shot. It was blocked, but it was just
just toying with the MLS guys. Oh yeah, here I'm watching it right. Literally chipped it right over him. They got the Peter Cetera Karate Kid song going. I don't know if you can hear it down the hall.
I can't, thank goodness.
Does somebody need to go tell them to keep it down?
No, I've got the door open, which I usually don't.
We screwed up.
What do we do?
We screwed up
What
with our poll question.
Oh.
Didn't include the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl on there. Someone texted in. They're right. We're wrong. Makes me want to do a second poll question for which Florida sports miracle.
Totally. I
let's
think
do
we
it.
should do a Florida miracle poll question.
Why not?
By the way, we do have to put Rays win the World Series because the Marlins have won 2. The Rays haven't.
When you say that out loud, that is. We're coming back. Sorry. Jeez.
Of course we are.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, Mike Eruzione scheduled to join us on this, the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. It will be a thrill. We've had him on the show before, but we've never had him on the anniversary, and it will be a thrill if we're able to connect with the captain of the 1980 U.S. hockey team.
We screwed up. We made a mistake. We made an error.
Again?
We booted a routine ground ball, David. This was...
Man. Come on, really? I mean, we're trying really hard. What do we do wrong now?
It's why I love the texters and people who watch on Twitch and all of you who listen. If you don't participate, that's fine too. I don't expect everybody to participate, but I'm far more appreciative here as we are in Act 17 of the texters and listeners than I may have been earlier in my broadcast career.
It's officially Act 3. I think it's just year 17 or 18. But go ahead. Right.
But a texter, at 21,000, by the way, 21000 if you want to text the show. That's how you do it. FSN radio is the keyword. You need to text that one time, FSN radio. Once you've done that, you're behind the green door and you can text as much as you would like. But the texter simply said you needed to Dolphins win the Super Bowl should have been a selection.
Oh, like what?
For a sports miracle.
Wow. It's true. I mean, we have the Knicks winning the NBA title. The Knicks won it in 73. The Dolphins' last Super Bowl win was 73 season. Well, how about this? How about we didn't want to go with the Florida teams because we thought we'd alienate too many fans. And, once we know we're snarky and sarcastic and we didn't want to upset you. The whole Miracle on Ice thing is to bring a smile to your face. Anything's possible. That bring joy to you, before you go into work and realize that you hate the person you work closely with. So we wanted to bring joy to your life. But if you want us to bring snark, we can do a Florida sports miracle question.
Well, it's the same question. Honor the miracle on ice. Which Florida sports miracle is most likely to happen? Dolphins win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Rays win a World Series.
Just never happened.
Then the question becomes, what are the other two choices? Because we're going to leave out a Gator or a Knoll or a Kane unless we dump the Rays.
Well, what about the Jags?
It could be Jags. It could be Orlando Magic, by the way.
Oh, that's a good one.
Who have never won an NBA title.
Only been to 2 finals, correct?
Correct. So it would be, boy, what would the college, if we had one college question, it'd have to be Miami, wouldn't it?
Hey, David, I can do this one with pro teams. I can do a Florida college miracle. I can. My poll questions can have poll questions now. Now you've opened the door. Now I can run wild.
I'm telling you, we should put South Florida win the ACC title. We should put that one on there. Because I'm telling you, I think it might happen first of all the things up there. Bro, you laugh at us. You laugh at us. This is happening. This is happening. South Florida will be in the ACC before the decade is out.
If we're going to do that, then can we put FSU wins the SEC?
Or Big Ten. Because I think they're going Big Ten. Tell you what, we could have a hysterical. In fact, our Florida Miracle Sports question will be, which title will Florida State win first? And we can put ACC title, Big Ten title, SEC title. Boom, 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 boom.
Now you guys have crossed into the.
Yes, exactly. See, that's what happens. That's why, we try not to go down that road, because that road is,
it's wide and there's no one on it.
That's I-10, baby. That goes from Jacksonville to LA. That goes a long way.
Initially, I didn't really think this was that snarky of you guys. It's Florida. It's Florida teams. You're throwing in the teams that haven't, but then David took it to a different level right there.
But if I were just to do a Florida one, which team makes the college playoff first? Florida, Miami, or UCF?
Wow. See, the fact that you add UCF will drive the Gator and Canes fan bat blank bonkers.
You can't put Florida State on there.
No, I understand that.
Because that's the obvious answer.
Well, although we know ESPN's voting no.
Yeah, they got to get in first.
Well, but if they win the conference, it's automatic. So we've not spent a ton of time on that because, quite frankly, they're still meeting in Dallas and they could change today. But very quickly, let's just with what was reported yesterday. So if 12 becomes 14, then that's only 2 buys because that's the NFL. The NFL's got 14 teams, 1 bye on each side, right? Because then you have to have 6 games to have 6 winners to add to the 2, and now you're 8. And you can have the quarterfinals. So we'd have 2 buys, 6 first-round home playoff games, 3-14, 4-13, 5-12, 6-11, 7-10, 8-9. I hope they don't reseed if they do this. I hope they just have a bracket, and if we have a major upset, then we have a major upset. If a 13 or 14 seed wins, they win. Seems to work fine in the NCAA tournament. Why change it from football? But, this SEC Big Ten Invitational.
That's a good line there. I just want everybody to catch what he said there. Because you could rename the college football playoff the Big Ten SEC Invitational.
And in the South, call it the SEC Big Ten Invitational. Well, because that's what this is. The Big Ten and the SEC want their money and their teams in. And the other guys want to, stay relevant and just grab as much of what's left of the pie as they can. Now, what's not being discussed is what they're going to do about the athletes. That's not being discussed at all. But also, Mark, that's 2 more playoff games. Instead of 11 playoff games in a 12-team playoff, which we're going to have for the next 2 years, that's 13 games in a 14-team playoff. Well, that's more money. I mean, the bid that was proposed last week was about $117 million per game. I mean, if we just stay with that bid, that means that 235 extra millions getting thrown into the pot. 1.3 billion a year is becoming 1.5, 1.6. Also, if it's that many games, can ESPN show them all? Can ESPN afford it? Does this definitely bring in other networks? Or does ESPN get all of it, but then they sell off the games, which is what was talked about last week?
Boy, Fox would love that, to have to bid to have a game and pay ESPN the money to have it.
And what game are you going to get? Right. Like when you're Amazon and you offer the NFL $150 million for a wild card game next year, the NFL is going to give you a little something. They're not going to give you the worst game.
Well, and they already proved it, because what did they do this year with Peacock?
Right.
They put the Chiefs and Dolphins on it and said, we're not going to put Houston on there. We're going to put a game on there that people want to see.
Yeah, we're going to bring you Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift, the Chiefs. Go. They'll do the same thing for Amazon. They'll take a look at the first round games and they'll give them a decent one, at least. ESPN will not give Fox a game equivalent to what the NFL is giving Amazon next year. And if you're Fox, you're really interested in paying $125 million to show number 4 against number 13, which, think about it, number 4 could be the Big 12 champ. What, Kansas State against number 13? Hell, that could be Liberty. $125 million for that game? You serious? They wouldn't give him $25 million for that game. So this will also, it's. And my feeling is, hell, if you're going to do 14, why not just go to 16?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I mean, really, we're going to have 2 buys.
Well, I don't think the Big Ten and the SEC want to go to 16 because they think that the 2 extra teams that get added won't be them. And they don't want the ACC getting 2 teams and the Big 12 getting 2 teams. They just want to create the system where they can get 4/5 teams and everybody else is only getting 1. I will say, if you're Notre Dame,
the Big Ten walked into the meeting yesterday and said, we should have 4 automatic qualifiers.
Right.
That's how they started the meeting.
Right. And the SEC said what they said, double.
That's a good idea.
So the first thing that was proposed yesterday was 8 of the 12 bids go to the Big Ten and the SEC. You other 7 conferences in Notre Dame, there's 4 spots up for grabs. Go. Oh, by the way, the money distribution, yeah, that's changing. Big way. Right now,
2/3 of the teams, we need 2/3 of the money as well.
Right. Right now, the Big Ten gets 16%. The SEC gets 16% because the Power 5 conferences get 80% of the revenue. So do the math. That's 16%. And then the 20% that's left, that's divvied up to the group of 5 and Notre Dame if they qualify. And the Big Ten and the SEC said 16%. How about if you take those figures and flip it? That interests us a lot. We'll split that. But we ain't splitting 32%. Got it? I'm telling you, it's no longer college. I think that they're going to be employees. We're right about South Florida. We're going to be right about this, folks. I know you think we're wrong. I know you hate it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't say we like it. They're going to be employees. It's going to be the AFC and the NFC. College football is going to become Coke and Pepsi. That's it. And it's going to no longer feel like college sports in any way, shape, or form. And I really wonder, Mark, when you lose that feeling, that uniqueness that college sports has, which March Madness still has. College World Series in Omaha still has it. College softball has it. College lacrosse has it. March Madness has it. Football's going to lose all of the feels. All of it.
David, we got this text. Back-to-back text from the same person. College sports is disgusting. College football especially.
Yeah.
And for those of you who love Saturdays more than anything else, it's really hard because where do you go?
Right.
I mean, if that's your favorite sport has changed so much that I don't know what you do.
For the worse. Who thinks this is for the better?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Exactly.
I would give all the money that I have in the world to go back to how it was 10 years ago. I really would. 15. I don't even want A&M in the SEC. I want to go all the way. I want to go back 15 years. I would change it all back if I could. I'd do something with the athletes and getting them compensation but I would move the schools all back to where they were 15 years ago if I had the power and the money to do it.
Right. So to Mark's point, I mean, it's like if you are a college football enthusiast, purist, whatever the word you want to use, this is terrible. It's sickening. Makes your stomach turn.
But are you going to start taking the day off and boycott it and make that your family day and then go to church on Sunday and then sit down and do the NFL? And that's now going to be your weekends in the fall?
I don't think so, but that's what makes it even worse. Because you're like, gosh, I got to watch this and I still love it. But man, the good old days, you know?
And the good old days weren't that long ago. And the NCAA has no one to blame but themselves. They kicked the can down the road over and over thinking that they were going to win a case that they lost unanimously.
This was not inevitable. This could have been avoided.
Do you realize there's going to be documentaries a generation from now? They're going to talk about the Tebow eras, the good old days of college football, the Tebow days. Unbelievable. See, that's why we booked Mike Eruzione for the show. See, we need the happiness, happy, joy. Anything's possible. Hope springs eternal. That's why we try to celebrate February 22nd every year. Because it was the best.
It's part of our poll question. We've got a couple of them up there. In honor of the Miracle on Ice, which sports miracle is most likely to happen? We'll have one that involves just the Florida teams coming up in the next couple of moments.
And you will not find a sports show in America with a more fitting homage to the Miracle on Ice. Miller and Moulton industry standard today. And every day, for that matter.
He sells us pretty well.
This Boost Bally over there is really bringing it.
He's boosting us.
I may even throw in a couple dollars to the cause here. Tell you what, spend $5 tonight betting college hoops, okay? I got your back. Mike Eruzione next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I've got about 25 seconds of the call here. You think that's too much?
No.
Okay. Perfect.
How much of it is after he scores?
It's half and half. So about 10 seconds.
Well, I don't know if we'll need to do the whole 10.
Okay.
So, in fact, have Mark will tell you when to kind of fade out.
Perfect.
And then I'll bring him on.
David, there's a title and an article on NBC-2.com. I'm going to read you the headline. Are young men in Florida opting for sports betting over sex?
And the answer is one they can get every night, the other they can't.
Not answering.
Called twice. I left the message, so I'll be watching. You still want to come back with the highlight or no? Okay. I'll keep trying, but
please.
Yes, I will. But we'll just scrap the highlight. We're back in 10 seconds. I'm calling him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour, Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Special day in sports history, February 22nd. 44 years ago, it was the miracle on ice in Lake Placid, USA 4, USSR 3. There was never anything like it before, and it's difficult to imagine there will ever be anything like it again. And so when we get the chance, when the sports world allows and the calendar allows, not every February 22nd do we spend a lot of time talking about it, but Miller and Moulton probably spend more than most shows because, well, it was pretty cool.
To say the very least.
So we had made arrangements to talk to Mike Eruzione at this time. Right now, we're having trouble hooking up with him. We will keep trying. We will keep trying. We will keep you up to date. Obviously, we're very much looking forward to that if it, in fact, happens. But the college football story is the biggest story, and that's, well, there's going to be change. Just how much? And none of it seems like it's what any fan wants. I mean, Mark, since we've been talking about this, you have the text line in front of you. I have the Twitch in front of me. You get many more responses than I get in the Twitch chat room. Is there anybody on the text line that likes any of what is being proposed? 12 teams, 14 teams, a guaranteed number of teams for the Big Ten and the SEC.
Well, I think college football fan likes the 12-team playoff. I have not seen a lot of people complaining about the 12-team playoff. Now, everything that's happened of how we've got to the 12-team playoff and what's happened with conference realignment, I don't think anybody's in favor of. But I don't know, David, I don't know about you. I don't know too many fans that aren't in favor of a 12-team playoff. They've been wanting it forever.
when they heard the news last night, we could do 12 for 2 years, and then we may be going straight to 14. Now, you and I have been saying, don't get used to 12. It's going to get to 16 here. We thought after this TV deal. We thought it was going to stay 12, not just for 2 years. They would do a 6 or 7, 8 year deal, get into the early 2030s, and then we thought they would get it to 16, but it may get to 14 in 2 years. And for those like Arch in our Twitch chat room, I want 8. I don't know what it's it. Name me the sport where they've gone back. Name it.
And we have one person who said in the Twitch chat room, there's been a couple of texts along the same lines. People don't like the idea of ESPN having all of the games and having all the control. That worries people. But I'm not hearing people complaining about the playoff. I hear people complain about the portal. I hear people complain about NIL. I've not heard anyone complain about the playoff. But they want the money to go back to being in a brown paper bag and not know about it. They don't like the idea of a 17-year-old saying, I deserve $1 million to be the quarterback at name the university. That bothers them.
Are you okay if the same people that are determining who made the 14 playoff are the ones determining who make the 12? Because I don't see how that's going to change, if you know what I mean. I know it's one of the 3 talking points, Mark. Access, that's how many teams. Distribution of the money, we all know what that means. And governance. Those are the 3 issues that Bill Hancock, executive director, said. That's what we're discussing. And from a time standpoint with network TV deals and what have you, we've got about a month that we got to get this straightened out. Mark, for as much as we don't like the committee, because their weekly rankings we disagree with, so we don't think they're all that smart, and many of us think what they did this year was absurd, if not just stealing. Who else? Who are you going to put in charge here? You going to let the media decide? You want to go back to the polls? You want to go to the computer? Remember, the computer was the one that kept Miami out of the playoff the one year, put Florida State in its place, even though Miami had beaten Florida State and they had the same record. The computer put Nebraska in after they got beat by 4 touchdowns instead of either Colorado or Oregon. So,
and David, I don't really care if it's a committee, if it's a computer, if it's the media. Because at the end of the day, most of the time, as we go to 12 and 14, what are we complaining about? Who's getting the bye and who team 14 is? As this thing's gotten so large, much like the NCAA basketball tournament, I don't care if Virginia Commonwealth gets in ahead of Minnesota. It doesn't matter to me. So, again, the playoff stuff makes for great sports talk radio, makes for great regional arguments, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't, to me, hurt the sport. Playoff arguments only help the sport.
So you think what took place in December helped the sport?
I don't think it hurt the sport.
I do. Maybe, you know what? Maybe technically you're right. Maybe it didn't hurt the sport. It hurt ESPN.
Now, that's possible.
It hurt ESPN because the feeling, whether it's factual or not, this is the feeling that a healthy percentage of college football fans, I mean, Mark, we had Gator fans who were like, wow, the Noles got screwed. I mean, honestly, we had very few Gator fans that were relishing in what happened to Florida State. They were kind of like, you serious? You go 13-0 in a major conference, you don't make the playoffs? Seriously?
You're right, David, and ESPN got hurt, and I agree with you. But you could argue that it was instantly fixed because that won't ever happen again. In fact, they put methods in place to ensure that that doesn't happen again. They've expanded.
Right. No, Florida State would have been in. God knows what they would have been seeded.
But
I mean, based on the rationale that was used to keep them out of the 14 playoff, they could have made them 7th. They could have put Georgia and Ohio State ahead of them. Of course, the funny thing is that they'd given them a bye, okay, that maybe the one quarterback would have been healthy enough to play. But, by not giving them a bye, ... Anyway. But, okay. And also, it falls under the whole there's no such thing as bad publicity theory. That, yeah, it was a mess. And, a lot of people got bent out of shape. But, at the end of the day, that's actually a good thing. Angst. I mean, the one thing that you and I have hung our hat on that, college sports especially, but college football is angst. You got to keep the angst in the sport, which is one of the things that I worry about if this becomes the Big Ten SEC Invitational. How much angst is there during the regular season if there's still so many spots available at the end of the year for the Invitational? Because think about it, Mark. I mean, certain teams are built a certain way. We felt it was important for the Dolphins to win the East if they were going to do anything in the playoffs. We didn't think they could go on a run on the road. We thought they had a chance to win some games if they could be home. And in the future, we'll probably feel that way about certain college teams. But for the most part in the NFL, it's like, get in the damn thing. You get in it. If you're of a certain caliber, you can win it. It doesn't matter. And I think we'll feel that way about a healthy percentage of the upper echelon in college football.
And do you know what that group of 5 champ that gets in is? This year, it's the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I'm not saying every year. I'm just using them because they won the worst division in the NFL.
Right.
And they still get in. And sometimes that team has been under 500 that's gotten in or 500 that's gotten in. So we're going to have the Liberty or whomever that's going to get in as the last automatic qualifier. And they're just like the worst conference, worst division in the NFL. They still get in. They still get in the playoffs, and they get their shot. And every once in a while, they go win a game and surprise you.
Now, the difference is it looks like they're going to seed the Liberties of the world 12th, and therefore they will not get a home game. Where we've talked about this in the NFL, the Bucks at 9-8, worst division champion in the league, they got the Eagles at home, even though the Eagles, if we did a power ranking, would have been ranked ahead of them. The Eagles had 2 more wins than they did. College football, I don't believe, Mark, the way we're reading the reports, top 4 conference champions get a bye and actually don't get home games. They get a bye, then they'll play in the quarterfinals at a neutral site in a bowl. But teams seeded 5 through 8 are seeded based on merit. That the 5th best conference champion is not going to be seeded 5. They're just going to be in. We're going to determine their seeding once we factor in who the other 7 teams are. I got to admit, I kind of would like to see the Liberties of the world get a home game.
I think I'm with you. I think it would be great, but it'll never happen.
I know.
Because they would have to then say all conference champions that qualify get a bye, and that's just not, they're not going to do it because that's going to take a home game away from whom? The SEC or the Big Ten.
Wouldn't you? I mean, Liberty hosting Georgia or Ohio State. I mean, come on.
Oh, it'd be special.
It'd be awesome.
I mean, App State with that great little stadium that they have.
Right. Scenic,
hosting
snow.
Right.
Yeah. And here comes Georgia.
Hosting Notre Dame.
Or Alabama. Right.
Right.
Texas. I mean, come on. It'd be amazing. And that's, won't do it, though. No, can't do it. No, we're not into that
but again,
anymore.
I don't think we're not. Yeah, we're going to complain about the playoff. We're going to complain about seeding, and we're going to complain about this, that, and the other. But it's not the part that's hurting college football right now. NIL and the portal is what has people upset, David. They're not upset about the playoff.
So once again, they're upset at the players. The conferences and the schools, they can do whatever. They're upset at the player.
Like the comment in the Twitch chat room, when a freshman who hasn't played a single down in college can go by his mama's house, that's where I have a problem. Why? You want the coach to get the money?
There was video.
They need to hire another
yesterday,
assistant?
Right. There's a Florida Gator defensive lineman bought his mom a house. Wow. That bothers you? Wow. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. TJ, even this year, even if it's an undefeated group of 5, do you actually think they're going to be ranked higher than the Big Ten and SEC runners-up? It's possible, TJ. It's possible, but it's highly unlikely that they would get a home game. Even the 7 and 8 seeds.
TJ, think about it. They pick whatever school from whatever group of 5 conference. They go 13-0. You think they're ranked like, I mean, listen, Cincinnati, a few years ago, they were ranked 4th. They got in the playoff. I guess.
Oh, why not have that written in? They won't do it. TJ, they're not going to, the SEC and the Big Ten are running this thing. They're not going to ever allow one of their schools to lose a home game for a Liberty. It's just not going to happen. I mean, they're already asking for most of the money, TJ.
TJ, by the way, apparently there's an ATT outage.
Yes,
nationwide. TJ, here's the fine line. The Big Ten and the SEC, they're trying to be the bullies, but they want to keep the other conferences around for the fodder and to avoid lawsuits. They want to give them just enough of the pie so that they stick around. They can schedule against them and get wins. Oh, RCB, college football has never been interested in Cinderella.
No.
That's a college basketball thing.
Well, we just got a random caller.
And what'd they say?
They were looking for the ESPN complex or something. I was like, no, this is not that.
Bristol, Connecticut. Hello.
Dang it. Just tried a couple more times. It goes straight to voicemail, and I know it's him because he says you've reached Mike Eruzione. But I'll keep an eye on it. I mean, really, I guess till the end of the show. If he calls during the bonus hour, we'll just...
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, what else are we going to... What's more important?
No, if he calls in, we'll obviously take it. That's a bummer.
That is a bummer. I was all fired up this morning.
I was too. I was fired up last night.
I was too. I driving into work, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I believe in miracles. He's calling.
All right.
Okay.
Which Florida miracle is most likely to happen? Dolphins win the Super Bowl, Rays win the World Series, Orlando Magic win the title, Panthers win Cup.
Oh, I think I have to go Panthers.
Right? I know I'm throwing that one up now. Another poll question.
Look at you, Mike Bianchi, Dan LeBatard.
Which Florida college?
Man.
Sports miracle is most likely to happen. That's where I can get snarky.
What are you laughing at?
My snarkiness.
The joy that you guys get from snark.
Well, and what you'll one day even realize as you get snarkier as you get older, I get joy out of being snarky to my kid, much the same way I'm sure David.
Totally. Totally. Her husband looks at me, and I just look at him like, I'm the only one who can do it, dude. Don't you try it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Dangerous thing has happened in the last hour, ladies and gentlemen. Most days we have trouble coming up with one poll question that meets Mark Miller's standards of, yeah, okay, we can throw that one out there. They won't laugh at us. I don't know if they'll vote, but they won't mock us. And now Mark's just firing away. I got another idea for a poll question. Boom.
Well, I put up the Florida sports miracle most likely to happen.
Today's the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. It inspired us. And so miracle is kind of the focus of our poll questions today, if you're just joining us.
Dolphins win the Super Bowl. Rays win the World Series. Magic win the title. Panthers win the Cup.
I voted for the Panthers. What's most likely to happen first?
Now is where I'm getting a little snarky because the last one in honor of the Miracle on Ice, which Florida college sports miracle is most likely to happen?
Uh-oh.
UCF makes the playoff. UF makes the playoff.
Wow.
Canes make the playoff.
Oh, man.
And then I was going to go with FSU wins the Natty.
Well, that'll elicit a response. Gators and Canes fans who loved us for being included in the poll question and then go, oh, so us disqualifying's a miracle, but them winning the whole thing, so that's what you think of us, huh?
There's a lot of snark. I could change it to UF wins the Natty.
Okay, just how about FSU UF Miami wins the Natty? Big. No,
I think it's a
Put
great
them all
idea.
in. Put them all in. Well, it's ever won. You know how we joked earlier that the Tebow era is going to look back as like the last great era of college football? That's when all the teams were in the conferences they should have been in and what have you. You know how long ago that was. I mean, that was almost back in the 80s. But I got to admit, did we take the 90s for granted in this state? I mean, we just thought that they were all going to be good for the rest of time, didn't we? We just thought that's how it was going to be. Florida State, Miami. This is how we play football. The college football world goes through this state. Okay, we'll beat each other up, argue, the whole deal. We'll decide eventually, you know, one of the three of us will basically play for the title every year. And, you know, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and the USC and the like, good luck. You know, you want to throw a Big Ten team in there, that's cute. Okay, but, you know, we'll just settle things in this state and we'll let you know who's going to play for the title. We took it for granted, didn't we?
Of course. When it's going on, you always do, David.
That was so good.
Yes, it was.
Good. Oh, man. Golly.
And Alabama took it for granted. And who knows what happens post-Nick.
Well, let me tell you, some of us throwing Eli Gold on the side of the street. Come on now. What the hell's wrong with you? I'm telling you, that's messing with the sports gods right there. You can't find three people to say a bad thing about Eli Gold. And I mean, he's done NFL, he's done hockey, he's done NASCAR. Honestly, he's had a long career. Okay. He's a kid from Brooklyn who has spent his whole life in the South. And you can't find a Southerner to say a bad thing about a kid from Brooklyn.
Think about that for a second, because we're not in the South. I lived in the South. David, you're really close to the South now in Jacksonville.
I am.
Never forget the first time my ex-wife was from the South. I never forget pulling into her uncle's driveway, and I didn't know if I was in the right house. I still had Michigan tags. And I pulled, you know, up about a quarter of the driveway because I wasn't sure if I was at the right house. And you know, sheepishly walked up to the door. Well, the uncle wasn't there. He comes running in. Who's that Yankee that parked in the back of my driveway? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yep. This is starting out well.
You guys are still upset about that, huh?
Yankee? I'm from Michigan, from crying out loud.
Say, we hate
the
Yankees.
Even a state.
Right. Anyway. So, golly. All right. Did you fire that question out? Is that official? I can vote on it?
Well, I think, I mean, UCF makes the playoff. How about UF wins the SEC?
Oh. Man. Oof.
How about wins?
Wins what? Because they can win the ACC. I mean, first off, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia. Well, Miami might be leaving too.
Wins the conference they're in.
Wins whatever conference
What's
they're in.
More likely to happen? Florida wins the SEC or Florida State wins the SEC?
Look at you guys.
We're just upsetting so many people today.
Hey, Florida fan, when are you going to win the SEC? Right now.
Come on, dude, we can't pick on them when, you know, you can't ask questions like that at their low point.
Well, I'm asking about that would be a sports miracle right now.
Oh, man. Not a miracle. I mean, Florida winning the SEC is not a miracle.
I am with Mark on this.
It's not a miracle. They just don't have their act together right now. You know, Alabama, USC, Oklahoma, you know, they went through periods where they didn't have their act together either. Texas.
Right.
Once you get it together, you win quickly.
Yeah. About to go to 9 conference games.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, Florida State 2 years ago didn't have their act together. Look at them now.
Okay. What happens first? UCF goes to a college football playoff. UF wins the SEC.
Oh, UCF. That's come on. I mean, this is going to take a while. I don't know if the Florida thing is going to happen this decade. I think it's also because the guy they have right now, he's a slow and steady guy. So I mean, even if he is the one to eventually get it done, he is all but said, the way I do things, this isn't going to happen quickly.
We're hoping he's a steady guy. Right now, we just know he's a slow guy. No, I'm sorry. There's no steady about it, David.
I
this
know,
isn't
you're
steady.
Right. I laughed because it was a good line. I didn't. It wasn't inaccurate. It's a good line. Right. No, Billy Napier's the turtle, and he's in a turtle race with the other turtles, and you're picking him up going, hey, dude, you're near the end. You got to pick up the pace. You put him back down, give him a little head start. Go. Come on,
well, hang on. So let me get this straight. So David called Billy Napier the turtle and doesn't think Florida's going to win the SEC this decade, yet it wouldn't be a miracle for them to win the SEC right now.
Well, a miracle. A miracle is never happening ever. That's when you think of miracle.
Just in honor of the miracle on ice.
Right. I mean, that's what you think of, though. You think of, oh, it'd be a miracle if we won the Super Bowl, I mean, we're basically Gators having 3 consecutive losing seasons is like asking a Lions fan about winning the Super Bowl after 0-16. I mean, that's how traumatic 5-7 and 6-7 is to a Gator fan.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
But look what happened. They eventually got the right people in place, figured it out, bada bing, bada boom. Same thing could happen here. We talked to Fred Wiebe last week.
At quarterback, better be able to play.
Well, that's all you need, though. Fred Wiebe raising the money, got a 5-star quarterback who can play. We can turn this around quickly. With Napier or without.
Well, you lose Napier, you lose the quarterback. So it's with Napier.
Maybe. Right now, that's the thought. But, yeah, maybe hold on.
Come on. He only gets paid more when he transfers. So don't think when a coach leaves that the players aren't leaving with them.
I know.
Miller and Moulton. We will switch from college football to gambling. Daniel Wallach. He is next. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, he's not on like Central Time or anything, right?
Nope.
Okay.
All right. In honor of the miracle of ice, which Florida college sports miracle is most likely to happen? UCF makes college football playoff. UF wins the Gators win the SEC. Miami wins the Natty. Florida State stays in the ACC.
I had to look up to see if you were actually typing that. And sure enough, you are.
Oh, there's a lot of snark on that. It's going up. I don't even care.
Snark overload. Who is that?
I don't know.
Apparently, that was the Michigan women's coach 16 years ago, Kevin Borseth.
Okay.
Dang it! I thought it was current.
Don't know how much of that you heard.
I heard the whole thing. It was great. What else do you want to know?
I was going to say, when I saw the graphic Michigan women's coach, I'm like, no, a woman is the head coach of women's basketball in Michigan. So I'm doing Jacksonville women on ESPN Plus tonight and Saturday. Tonight I'm the analyst. Saturday I do play-by-play. So I've seen a couple of games on ESPN Plus, but I haven't seen a game in person. So I asked the coach, can I come to practice? No. Okay. And some coaches just don't want anybody to practice. I get it. So I asked, hey, is there a time and a place where I could just talk to you for 5 minutes? What do you want to ask me? I said, do you want me to submit the questions? And she said, yeah. So I submitted the questions. They're all generic stuff. I just want to have some talking points for the broadcast. She texts me back and she says, my SID can answer your questions. And I text her and I go, so when I quote your SID and you disagree with what he says, he's going to deny he said it, and then you're going to yell at me. I go, no, I'll just do the game blind, and you'll just live with what I say. Send.
What's their record?
Like 8-17.
Okay.
It's her first year. I actually love the hire. She was a high school coach at Montverde. I thought it was, I loved the hire. I actually think she could win. I think she could do what Coach Yo did there 10 years ago. I really do. But it's obvious that she doesn't trust the media. So the SID. So then I say, you know what? I'm going to go through with the charade. And I set up a time twice with the SID. He doesn't call me both times. He texts me this morning. And he says, hey, can we talk this morning? I go, no, I'm too busy. No, I'll just see. I just said, I'll wing it. I'll see you at the game and I'll wing it.
Daniel on? Okay.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Final segment of Miller and Moulton, at least along the network on this Thursday. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour. He's been good to us over the years. Daniel Wallach. He co-hosts the sports law podcast, Conduct Detrimental. He teaches sports law. He also is the legal analyst for The Athletic. And he just filed a brief before the Supreme Court. You can follow Daniel on Twix, Twitter/X at Wallach Legal. Wallach Legal. Daniel, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. So what? You've got all this free time? You figured you'd file a brief? What was that about?
Well, I thought that all of my appearances on your program finally qualified me as a renowned expert in the field. And it gave me the confidence to say, you know what? Hey, maybe I can do this. Maybe I know this area of the law. I felt it was super important to weigh in because this is an important issue that affects the future of sports betting and iGaming in Florida for the next 30 years. If this decision from the DC Circuit Court of Appeals stands, there's going to be a monopoly and exclusive control in one entity for the next 30 years. And then, of course, that will become the blueprint for gaming throughout the country. So there's a lot at stake. And while so many people in the commercial gaming industry are rooting for Wes Flagler, nobody is willing to put their names on an amicus curiae brief or to sue in their own name because they don't want to disrupt or poison their relationships with the Seminole tribe or potentially with tribes all over the country. So it was always curious to me that this fantastic legal argument was made only by one parimutuel when there were over 30 parimutuels. None of the others sued because they were afraid.
And it all along, things were going well for Wes Flagler up until the DC Circuit Court here. And now we've talked about this all along. This brief, does this increase the likelihood of this case being heard? Where are we as far as this case being heard by the Supreme Court, Daniel?
Well, it's still early in the proceedings. Wes Flagler filed a petition for writ of certiorari, which is their request to have the court take up the case on the merits. They only filed it on February 8th. It's only 13 days old by now. So I filed my amicus brief really early in the process. Normally, I get 30 days, but I wanted to make sure. I'd been working on this since November. I was waiting for Wes Flagler to file. I probably could have filed this before Wes Flagler filed. But the way the timeline works is that the U.S. Department of the Interior and the Seminole Tribe will get until March 13th to respond to the petition and argue why the court shouldn't hear the case. And then at some point, a reply brief will be filed by Wes Flagler in late March. And in April, early April, this matter will be given to the justices for discussion and debate at their weekly conferences. And we'll find out at some point between April and the end of June, which is when the court's term ends for this year, whether they're interested in taking the case. So we're going to get a cert decision between April and the end of June. Now, that may not be a decision on the merits. That could just simply be, okay, we want to hear the case. We're going to schedule it for oral argument in next year's term. But what I asked for, in addition to granting cert, I asked for immediate reversal, summary reversal, because I believe that the compact plainly and clearly and unambiguously authorizes off-reservation gaming, which goes or exceeds the allowable boundaries of what the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act allows. And it's a statute that's designed to cover gaming on Indian lands and only gaming on Indian lands.
He's Daniel Wallach. Wallach Legal is how you follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, Wallach, Wallach, legal. How can the court not take this? For as little as Miller and Moulton understand about the law, this is changing federal law. This would change the sports betting policies of 39 or 40 states potentially overnight. This seems like a textbook, as a court, we have to take this case, doesn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, you're right on the money. I mean, here's the reason why there's some doubt, because statistically, the U.S. Supreme Court grants or accepts fewer than 2% of cases that are filed as a petition for writ of certiorari. You have to really clear a very steep hurdle, but I believe that's being accomplished here because you have an important federal question that has far-reaching repercussions, and there's a division or a split among the lower federal appellate courts in how to interpret IGRA's application to off-reservation tribal gaming. And if this decision stands, it will embolden tribes and states in all these other jurisdictions to do the same thing, which will ultimately result in monopolies being granted to one or a coalition of Indian tribes, and the state's commercial gaming operators, the card rooms, the racetracks, and so forth. They're going to be shut out. So this is an important issue that will have far-reaching repercussions. There's a split in the authorities among the lower court, and the D.C. Circuit's decision is in direct conflict with the U.S. Supreme Court's own precedent, Michigan versus Bay Mills Indian Community, a 2014 decision in which Associate Justice Elena Kagan pretty unambiguously declared that IGRA regulates gaming on Indian lands and nowhere else. And from her vantage point, the gaming activity that you look at isn't the receipt of the bet or the processing of the bet. It's the actions of the gambler, the spin of the roulette wheel, the roll of the dice, or in this instance, the placing of the bet, the decision by the customer as to who to bet on. That's the activity that matters for purposes of IGRA. So you have, on the one hand, in my view, a pretty clear violation of the statute. And then it's backed up by all these cases. And when you think about the repercussions of letting this decision stand, it's national in scope, and more immediately within Florida, not only will it cement this online sports betting monopoly for the Seminole Tribe for the next 30 years, but the next step after that will be iGaming. Because if this structure is legally upheld, the state and the Seminole Tribe will amend the compact in 2 years and throw in iGaming. And what do you think happens to the pari-mutuel industry if they're shut out of digital gaming and all they have are, brick and mortar highlight or brick and mortar horse racing? They're going to face ruination.
The gambler also suffers here, Daniel, because they don't get to work the odds. They don't get to play FanDuel against DraftKings against the Hard Rock app. I'm curious, why hasn't the FanDuels of the world or the BetMGMs, why have they jumped in on any of these lawsuits? And why is you already mentioned West Flagler as a pari-mutuel, but why haven't any of the big national companies tried to jump on board with this as well?
Because they're trying to do deals with the tribes in states all over the country, right? So if you're at loggerheads with the most powerful tribe in the United States, which is the Seminole Tribe, well, good luck in your approachment or relations with tribes in other states. What happens here will leave a lasting impression, and the FanDuels and DraftKings and MGMs of the world are trying to smooth over relationships with tribal nations, particularly after that colossal failure in California, in which the commercial sports betting operators tried to put online sports betting on the ballot, and the Indian tribes in California spent close to $500 million to kill it. So they're in a mode right now where they're trying to smooth over that relationship, and that relationship is with all tribes, not just a particular tribe. So they've been sitting this out. I don't know. I don't have a window into their boardroom, but it's logical that the inactivity from vast swaths of the gaming industry is no accident. The tribes have become very powerful politically in states like California and Florida, and this compact has provisions in which the Seminole Tribe can decide to do, off-reservation betting at pari-mutuels. And if you're a pari-mutuel that challenges the power, that challenges the compact, you could be basically on the outside looking in, and you're not going to get one of those deals. So they've been intimidated by the language of the compact into silence.
He's Daniel Wallach, co-host of the sports law podcast Conduct Detrimental, legal analyst for The Athletic, and he joins us once again here on Miller and Moulton. All right, you filed this brief before the Supreme Court. What if they actually say, okay, we want to hear it? So do you go before the court and argue on behalf of Wes Flagler? I mean,
Yeah.
and what are the odds of them saying, you know what? You're pretty smart here. We want to hear what you have to say.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. The first thing that Daniel Wallach has to do is probably have around-the-clock armed security protection. I have to change my phone number. I'm going to have to move. I got all these gamblers that are going to all of a sudden think that I'm the reason, or Wes Flagler is the reason why they may not be able to gamble anymore, and they don't realize how bad of a deal they're getting. Right, because you mentioned the inability to shop around for prices and the best lines, but it goes deeper than that. They're going to get fewer promotional incentives, deposit bets, free deposits, bonus bets, free bets, and the dispute resolution procedure. Like if you have an issue with how a bet is graded or whether it was properly decided, who makes that decision? It's not going to be a gaming agency. It will be the Seminole tribe deciding whether the Seminole tribe violated your rights. And from a consumer protection standpoint, this is the absolute nadir of sports betting regulation. And from the state's perspective, they're not getting as much money as they think they're getting because under the old compact, they were already getting $300 million annually. Under this compact, they're getting $500 million. But that includes the additional table games, craps, roulettes, and 4 new casinos. Sports betting in Florida is taxed at among the lowest amounts in the country under this compact. Now, states aren't allowed to tax Indian tribes, but they can do revenue shares. And the revenue share is akin to a tax rate. And here, it's 13.75%, but it allows the tribe to deduct from the bottom line any kind of marketing spend. So in actuality, the effective tax rate is in the single digits annually, making it one of the lowest tax rates in the entire country. And in return, the Seminole Tribe have been granted a monopoly, exclusive control statewide over the third most populous state in the country, which will probably be one of the top 2 or 3 sports betting jurisdictions in the country. And having it in the hands of one party and keeping DraftKings and FanDuel and MGM and the other apps, Fanatics, on the outside looking in will mean that the state will see less volume, less betting activity, and consequently a lower revenue share.
Daniel Wallach, kind enough to join us once again in less than 2 minutes, if you can.
So I'll argue the case, but I'm sort of subordinated to Wes Flagler's attorneys. If oral argument is granted and the court decides to hear the case on the merit, this could be a half-hour oral argument. This could be 1 hour. Whatever it is, each side gets 50% of the allotment of the time. I'm going to ask Wes Flagler if I could have a small sliver of that, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But I probably won't get it. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And that's certainly my intention, to participate in the oral argument in Washington, D.C., unless the court denies cert or grants summary reversal, which would be a big deal and could end it all like immediately.
We'll be watching. Best of luck. Thanks for your time, Daniel.
That was a labor of love. It took me a few months, but that was one of the best briefs I've ever written. So I left it all out there.
There you go.
On the floor, left it all out there. No regrets.
Well, Daniel, if you're going to send your best work, you might as well send it to the Supreme Court, don't you think?
Well, it's probably the other way around. If you're going to go to the Supreme Court, it has to be your very best because that's the major leagues. You can get away with some stuff in state court in Leon County, maybe. This is playing in the world.
It sure is.
Yankees against.
I know. Yankee Stadium in October. That's for sure.
And
Thank you, Daniel.
Will tear you apart if you're not on point and on the money. And I was.
Daniel Wallach, legal analyst for The Athletic. The podcast is Conduct Detrimental. It's a sports law podcast, and it is done weekly. And he has been a legal analyst for us for many a year. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Wallach Legal. Wallach, as in the former baseball player Tim Wallach, Wallach, Wallach Legal.
As in the former baseball player Tim Wallach.
Third baseman for the Expos in the 80s. It's just
in the former baseball player. Is that what everybody else was going with there? That was my first thought, was Tim Wallach.
Wallach.
Former
how many people with the last name Wallach? First one I thought of was Tim. Could have gone Eli. Okay, but I went Tim. Showing my
For all
age.
the Wallachs out there, we thank you.
I mean, there aren't many Wallachs. It's like if I ever did something and was noteworthy. I mean, Moulton, there's nobody else to compare me to. You end up saying Moulton as in lava. That's all I got. At least he's Wallach as in Tim. I played in the show.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices informed.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Every time that Naples Tiki Bar commercial runs and they say, try our famous pulled pork, I think to myself, how good can it be?
It's not. I'm sure it's not. It bothers me that anybody that's not a smokehouse puts that on there. You can't. Unless you're a barbecue joint, you don't advertise, try our Cisco pulled pork. I'm sorry.
It's a tiki bar. I don't know why. I think
Got a
that's so
text to
funny.
read when we come back. I have officially upset Florida fan with that question.
Well, you guys are Gator haters. We know this. I, on the other hand, just bought a Gator t-shirt.
We got nothing. We really have nothing that fits our criteria tonight.
Well, do we just not play anything?
The only one that if you wanted to, because Washington State's on the road at Arizona, but they're both ranked.
National Margarita Day, by the way.
Yes, and National Chili Day.
Oh, is it really? I'm doing margs.
I will say we didn't play it last night. This is something we have played this year. When a team gets upset.
Oh, Purdue laying the 15.5?
Yeah, coming off the the road loss at Ohio State.
And Rutgers is a grease fire on the road.
Correct. Although they're much, Rutgers is a fascinating case study. The kid wasn't allowed to play for him for the first half of the year. One of those stupid NCAA, we're not going to allow you to play. They won on appeal. Since that kid's played for them, they've lost like once.
Panthers are a road dog tonight. Oh, it's Carolina. For some reason, why did I think? I don't know how I read that. Forget it. They should be. Ooh, Wings and Avs tonight. It's soccer. Getting right in my way.
The NBA is back tonight. The Pistons are in Indiana. You're going to bet them, aren't you? You're going to bet them, aren't you?
Oh, you can do NBA League Pass on YouTube TV now.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I would get it, but that's a good get.
Yeah,
you're going to bet them, aren't you?
Of course.
What do you mean, of course? You can go the other way. You're allowed. What are the Pistons against the number this year?
What have the Pistons done for you this year? No. Have you won a bet on the Pistons? Did you bet them when they won their 2 games in the first 3 there?
I did, and that's what started this whole thing. I have futures on them that are also very clearly not going to cash. I thought their over 27.5 wins was the lock of the century.
Oh, Felipe, I asked him, but he would have won so much money on that going the other way.
Oh, he and I fought about it. I mean,
he was adamant that they weren't going to win 20 games this year.
He was way off the Pistons and all in on the Pacers. So he's 2 for 2 in that department. All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Come on, we can begin to see the finish line from here. Final hour of our show on Thursday. And for some of us, it's just a 4-day week, huh? Not bad. Hope it's been a good one for you thus far. This, the 44th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. So Miracle is kind of, on our minds. Sports miracles. Now, I think Mark's gone a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's gone off the reservation, if you will. And it's probably getting us in trouble with certain fan bases, is my guess.
Yeah, my last question honked off a few people.
I knew it. I knew it. I wasn't a fan, but
Oh, you weren't a fan.
I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of putting it in a poll question. I was a fan of talking about, boy, this would be really snarky if we did put it in a poll question. See, that's how I wanted to get it out there. Okay, but when you post it, some people pin those suckers. They send them back to you 3 years later. It can cause problems.
So in honor of the Miracle on Ice, which Florida college sports miracle is most likely to happen?
Sports miracle. Remember, you're saying this would be a sports miracle.
I put miracle in quotes. I'm having a little fight. If anybody reads that and thinks that it's literal, then they actually have a little bit more of a problem than I believe. Okay?
Gotcha. So in other words, we should have
quotes, David. That gets me. I can get away with it because I put the quotes around it.
So in other words, the quotes, miracle in quotes, is basically like putting in parenthesis, lighten up, Francis.
Thank you.
All right.
And the college one I had is UCF makes the college football playoff. The Gators win the SEC. Miami wins the Natty. And Florida State stays in the ACC.
Well, we know the last one's not happening.
And people have actually voted for it.
Which is amazing.
But the text line, well, they're here. To a text that says this: how closely do you follow the Florida program? Do you follow their football closely? You might know it's going in the right direction.
It is going in the right direction. We don't know if it's going fast enough, though, but it is going in the right direction. I hope you heard our interview last week with Fred Wiebe. He's the guy who's in charge of raising the money for Florida Victorious. It was Friday, last Friday. If you missed it, go download it, floridasportsnetwork.com. I thought it was a pretty revealing interview. We talked about the future of Florida athletics.
And I just responded to him that we do follow it closely and that we think it's going in the right direction. But Florida has the hardest schedule in the country next year.
Don't know if one's ever been harder, to be honest with you. How many times has a Power 5 team played 11 Power 5 opponents? I can't recall it happening, to be honest with you. I mean, there are schools out there that only play 8. And you're playing 11. I mean, you're playing Miami, UCF, Florida State. Oh, yeah, and then you play the SEC. I mean, damn.
And Florida fans are not the most patient folks in the world. No college football fan is. And Florida's right at the top of that list. And there were those that wanted Napier gone after this year. So if worst case scenario happens and that schedule bites Florida in the behind next year, can they still be patient with Napier?
Here's my question. Will they be patient if it's like 7-5? Is that good enough? And then go to a bowl, hopefully win it, go 8-5. But you know what I mean? I mean, will that be good enough?
I hope so.
I do too. Because I actually think them going 7-5 with that schedule, that's solid. That's like, hey, this ain't a bad team. How many teams who play this schedule who wouldn't go 7-5? I mean, come on. We could look back at the joke of a schedule that both Georgia and Michigan played last year. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have been better than the Miamis and the UCFs of the world, but it's not often that when a program is in the state that Florida's in, which is in transition, which is building, that a schedule like this is what's on the paper.
Just have a little fun with me, David. Who's going to be favored in these games? Home for the Canes.
And when you say home for the Canes, you mean the Gators
are the Gators schedule.
Right. Yeah, the Gators will be a small favorite, anywhere 2-4.
They'll be favored in the Samford game.
Uh-huh.
Home for A&M. Depending how they do against Miami, but that's going to be another inside a 3-point spread.
Yeah, and then I'd probably have to check who does A&M open with, and what if they win, and but yeah, small.
So at Mississippi State.
Ooh, Mississippi State's not good. Florida's better than them.
I think Florida will be favored. So they should be favored in their first 4 games.
So we're thinking 3 of the 4 though probably favored by 4 or less.
Right. And then home for UCF, where they'll be favored again.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that line will be 6.5 to 9.
At Tennessee, they won't be favored.
No, they will not.
Home for Kentucky, they'll be favored.
Yeah, could be really
close.
Could be low. Kentucky's another team for next year that people are trying to figure out because they've lost a lot off the last 2 teams. Last year disappointed a little bit until they beat Louisville at the end.
So they could be favored in 6 of their first 7 games.
Right. Slight favorites in probably 4 or 5 of those 6, though.
Right. Then Georgia.
Uh-huh.
At Texas.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Home for LSU.
Well, there'll be a dog. I mean, it'll be probably 3.5, 4, but there'll be a dog.
Home for Ole Miss.
Probably a dog. At low, 2.5, 3.
And at Florida State.
There'll be a dog. They can win that game, but there'll be a dog.
So they'll be favored, we think, in half of their games.
First half of the season, once again, need to make hay early. What happened last year? 5-2, lost out. I mean, once again, hey, how are we doing going into Georgia? How many games we favored in the rest of the way? None. Remember last year, weren't they underdogs in every game but home against Arkansas? And we had circled that game in early October. We said, listen, okay, they could be 5-2 going into the Georgia game. You know what's the game they got to win? Home against Arkansas. They beat Arkansas, they're going to a bowl. And they ended up losing that game in overtime or late in regulation, one or the other.
And to the Gator fan out there who texted, we do follow the program right there. You're favored in half your games. If you win all the games you're favored in and you lose all the games you're not, you're a 6-6 team. If you overachieve, then Napier's won 7-8 games and you're doing just fine. But if you underachieve at all and lose any of those games that you're favored in that you're not, that you're supposed to win, and you throw a 5-7 out there, how patient is Gator Nation going to be for Billy Napier?
4th straight losing season, 3rd straight for him. Now, I would argue with that schedule where the program is, give him 2025, to be honest with you, because as we talked about, if you blow out Napier, you run the risk of losing your 5-star recruit at quarterback. You at least got to see him play, give him the team for a year. Schedule can't be harder in 2025. It's another year of recruiting players. He is making progress on the high school recruiting scene. Hopefully another year, Florida gets their collective, more money, their NIL pay-for-play situation becomes better. 2025 really should be better than 2024. See, to me, we just asked Daniel Wallach why others, the DraftKings of the world, haven't come out publicly against the Hard Rock and the Seminole Tribe, because they clearly don't like the monopoly that's in place and they want in. But why is it they won't publicly say so? I don't understand why Scott Strickland has not publicly gone to the wall for Billy Napier, because his job's tied to him. I mean, do we really think Scott Strickland's going to get to hire a third coach? I mean, he hired Dan Mullen. He hired Billy Napier. Do we really think that the Gator money people are going to allow Scott Strickland to hire the third coach? No. So if I'm Scott Strickland, I am publicly all in on Billy Napier. I'm wrapping a rope around the two of us. We are tied together. We are jumping off this cliff together. Don't kid yourself. I'm all in. And I would be as real can get with Gator Nation. Hey, you don't have to like it. This is where we're at. By the way, if I was Scott Strickland, I would apologize publicly to Billy Napier.
For the schedule that you gave him?
Yeah. You know what? The schedule's been too hard. I've set you up and put you in a bad spot. We should be better. You should have done better. But you know what? I haven't made it easy on you. There's a lot of other ADs in the country that would have made it a hell of a lot easier on their second hire.
In fact, a lot of other ADs would have bought some of these games out.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't have put Florida in the position that they were in. So we think it's getting better.
But will it get better fast enough? Hey, listen, Mario Cristobal's a year away from this. It's a bigger game for Napier, but that's a big opener for Mario. Because after what happened in a couple games last year, I mean, Kane Nation is like, well, I know he can recruit, but I also don't think he can coach. So how long can we live with that? Mario's got to prove to the people paying his salary he can coach. They know he can recruit. But that Georgia Tech, I mean, you take 3 knees and you win, and you can't pull that off as a coach. You can see why maybe the rank and file are a little unhappy.
So big years for all of the Florida schools, but particularly Miami and the Gators, who have to prove it. And the Canes and the Noles have to show that they can still do it.
And
a lot of players come
honest,
from that team.
Mark, I think UCF fan is also saying to Gus, Could we see a little more? That last year in the American, to be honest with you, we should have been in the conference title game. You blew that late. And last year, we should have been bowl eligible. You lost some games we should have won. 35-10 in the third quarter at home, we lost a game. That can't happen, Gus. Come on now. We're supposed to be better than this. I mean, Tampa, Tallahassee, they're happy with their guys. What's going on? Rest of the state, kind of grumpy, a little snarky.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yep. Sorry about that. But that's a tough one. I have to put on a shirt and tie for the next 3 days. This is a crisis situation. First, you have to find 3 dress shirts, or at least 2, and then do laundry. All right. Then also, I don't even know.
You got to find the iron.
Well, I know where the iron is, but I don't know where the ties are. I know they're in this room somewhere. I should be able to track them down.
You can't do like a sweater?
No. I'm with Mark on this one. I know that the casual attire and they allow more casual facial hair than they used to, but my feeling is if you're going to do the TV thing, you do the shirt and tie.
The way you're supposed to?
Yeah, you do the shirt and tie. Now, Mark and I got into it. I was doing radio. and he hired me to do the radio. And I came in. I looked fine, but I didn't look like I was going to be on TV. Mark was doing TV. Okay. And plus, he always dressed that way for a game. He looked at me. He basically said, if it wasn't like an hour before puck drop and I could get somebody else, I would throw your ass out of here so fast. He did. He looked at me like, it's a nice little gig I gave you. And I was appreciative because I love doing live games, play-by-play analyst, and Mark knew that. And I was thrilled. And he looked at me like, you have really, you know what? He gave me my grandfather look. He was disappointed in me. Okay, he did.
Well, yeah, because you'd been to so many games. You saw everybody was dressed up there.
But not radio.
Our off-ice officials would go shirt and tie for the
play. I will say, you guys ran from day one, that organization has been a very professional operation. It has. That's why it was always so great. Mark, why is it such a beautiful crowd? He goes, I gave away free tickets to all the strip clubs. It's just awesome. I'm like, I really think I can like this guy. I think I need to find a way. I got to come to more games. I got to hang out afterwards. Do you like to drink after the games? My name's David. I know. Trent, you would have loved it. Mark and I made so many deals together. Okay. I'd call him up. I need this. He goes, come on. He goes, tell you what, next week I got an event. I got Swampy coming to this. I go, I'll get the news cameras there. All right. Come on down. I'll give you what you need.
Help me help you.
God.
At the time, the guys across the hall were the biggest radio show in town.
Yep.
One guy was my PA announcer. The other guy, he'd call me. Can I have the good seats? I'm taking my daughter. I had seats right in the glass for Stan.
Yep, totally.
Whatever you need, buddy. Golf pros, strippers, and radio people got what they wanted, and we got great publicity for it.
Yes, you did.
Boys got to play golf anywhere they wanted, and we got great pub.
Seems like a win-win to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the boys got free golf and a lot of free things, so that when I had to have them go to a school, it was like,
here we go.
Yeah, see, I knew we were coming back. I just didn't know where you were going.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, and some picks, although there's not many games that fit. First off, there's none that fit our quote system. But then we also have a couple of things that we go, well, it's not our system play, but we also like to make this play. We like to make this play. We've got one or two of those, but we don't have a system play tonight.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous for what you guys are about to do here in 20 minutes because I think we might have to Kenny Rogers this puppy and just know when to walk away. We're hot right now.
There's action.
There's always action.
I've been afraid to go here the whole show, but hell, there's only a couple segments left. So if I piss off Moulton, he can just walk away for the rest of the show. But I caught this article today, and since we have one of these young men right at our disposal, I thought it would be worth asking him, because my go-to for years for the good, the bad, and the ugly, the first place I go is to the NBC affiliates website. They have always done a really good job. They have changed their website a ton, and it's not as good as it used to be for what I need. But it's my local go-to of the television stations for their website. And an article jumped out at me today that they have a story on. And the headline of the article is, are young men in Florida opting for sports betting over sex?
Good night, everybody.
Apparently, they interviewed Donovan Johnson. He is a student at FSW who really likes to gamble. Said he gets a huge rush from sports betting. Just a big risky feeling.
Oh, boy.
It's like a sick in your stomach feeling because you don't know if you're going to win or lose. But if you throw up a good parlay and it should hit, that's good, he said.
Well,
yeah. I mean, nothing wrong with a good parlay.
And then he says later in the quote, he says, if I meet a new girl, I would get a good feeling inside, but it wouldn't be as exciting as placing a sports bet. So Trent, as you are now days away from meeting the young Wisconsin native who is going to enter your life as a Packer fan, and you're being set up on a blind date, could be the love of your life. It could crash and burn really quickly. Trent, I ask you, betting on sports or sex?
You guys are trying to put me in a very, very
well.
tough situation.
I could ask both of your brothers, but they both have girlfriends, so we
Right.
know what the answer is for both of your brothers.
Look,
Not necessarily, but
here's the thing.
I mean, we know what they'd say, okay, but not necessarily.
Yeah, those guys are both. They gamble. They're worse than I am.
Well, they both have better jobs.
But they do.
Right.
They
Yeah.
have better jobs.
Yeah, they have more
More
money.
money.
Of course.
One's a teacher.
If that tells you anything about the state of the union here. But come on, there are levels to good feelings. I'm not gonna,
All right.
I'm
All
not,
right. I just was checking because we're too old to qualify, David.
Hey, Donovan, shout out. Do your thing, man. But no. Come on.
Tell you what, if I David, could you imagine seeing this story and you have Donovan in one of your classes today and you're the professor?
Yeah, I don't know whether to give him an A or an F.
Well, base it off his parlay. If his parlay hits, he gets
That's
an A.
right. Here you go. Tell you what, Donovan, you're in a hole. I need a parlay. That's your extra credit. You give me a parlay for tonight.
You're no longer just gambling for money. You're gambling for your degree. Which, one and the same, kind of.
Yes, it is. I had gone into a few tests that way where I was gambling with my degree. There is no doubt.
Now, I have to admit, there are times, though, which the timing is not, good for the latter. We go back the story when there are early days in which, it was a Giants playoff game against the Cowboys and they're trying to hold off at the end, and wife and daughter came home, right at the 2-minute warning and start asking all these questions. And I literally just told both of them, could you just leave me alone for 15 minutes? I looked right at my daughter and said, could you just pretend I'm not your father? Okay.
I yearn for the day that I'm watching an important game and my wife decides to say, hey, it's right now time. Okay, pause. Be back in 7 minutes.
I didn't say I wouldn't go into the other room, but I would say, is it okay if we put the TV on?
And in true Costanza form, can I bring a sandwich?
Well, no, I'd tough it out. But I mean, there are times it's really important. That's all.
I'm filing this under best of right now.
Kind of figured it would go that way. Very evergreen type of segment.
Now,
at any time.
I have to admit, what is most troubling is that the stories about young people.
Correct.
All right. Heck, guys Miller and Moulton's age. I mean, first off, you're just happy to get the call from the bullpen.
Exactly.
I mean, you get the call, you're answering the call. I mean, you are. You just are. Hey, how's your arm feel? Oh no, I give as many innings as you need tonight, Coach. Right? No,
yep,
you're
I
good.
got this one. I can get us an out here.
No, I can hand it to the closer if need be. Absolutely.
Oh, this is great.
In fact, I'm hoping to be the closer, but you know what? I didn't be a setup guy tonight. I'm fine.
The analogies.
So that's the thing, Trent, when you get to our age, you just want to be part of the rotation. But it's a little troubling at age 23, 24, 25, 26, that it's like, wait, hold on a second. This should be good times for you. Really? Huh.
So apparently young men are getting more pleasure from gambling on sports than meeting a young lady.
I will say it's a strength in numbers thing with the gambling, because when you get around your boys and you're all gambling on the same game, and some of you might have gone one way and some of you went the other, that is a very, very fun time. I will say that.
Hasn't met that girl from Appleton, Wisconsin yet.
No. Hasn't even seen her across the bar when he was with his boys going, I'm going to take this game off. I'm going to go try to say hello to her.
I'm going to say, because when you meet her, you will keep track of how many days you go without seeing your boys, and you'll be just fine. You'll be good. You will. It'll become like a weekly thing. Hey, Thursday nights, can we get together? You'll be fine.
Because you've got a better parlay at home.
Exactly. And by the way, they have a parlay also. That's what ends up happening. Get to a certain age. But that sounds like a one-person story, that they went out, did a man on the street, literally with one man. Come on.
There's a research study that found 63% of young men are single. It's the highest it's ever been.
Hold on. Is this Southwest Florida?
No, this is a national study.
Gotcha.
The Pew Research study found that 63% of young men are single. It's the highest it's ever been.
Okay.
50% of young men have no interest in dating, not even casual sex. And 30% of young men said they haven't had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. That bothers me.
Should we poll our listeners? Poll question?
Our listeners aren't young enough.
I know. That's why I think it'd be interesting. The demo.
Yeah, you start pulling guys our age and older, and they'll go, what, a year? I'll get concerned when we get to 3. but anyway.
This segment brought to you by Viagra.
I now understand, like yesterday we had a poll question about, how much you liked your job and all that. And I was trying to figure out why there's so much misery in this country, because apparently only like 50% of you hate your job. Well, hell, now I know why. Half of you aren't even getting a little action. Third of you aren't even interested. Well, now I know why you're miserable.
And your team's losing on top of that, because there's only one team that can win.
Right. I thought it was your job. I thought it was your home life. Turns out you can't get a date and your team suck. Now I understand. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day one.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Trent just got some cookies.
From the girl in Appleton?
No, Shane's walking around with somebody selling Girl Scout cookies.
I just bought a box of Thin Mints. $5.
There you
You
go.
only bought one?
Well, come on. I mean, I got to have somebody to gamble.
How's he going to
I
gamble?
understand, but man, Thin Mints, it's tough to stop at one. It is. No, we've talked about this. Mark, you buy two, right? Because the first one's gone. Boom. Gone. And so then it's a matter of, well, I got to have the second one around because they see me come in with them, and I got to have a few of them around for the family. But the first one is just gone.
Logic Man, you've never bought a box of Girl Scout cookies? You're a communist. The hell?
He's just still pissed off about the Eagles. That's all.
Whatever.
I just come on. They won. You mean to tell me when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, you didn't buy Girl Scout cookies?
I mean, especially Thin Mints. The box is green. Come on.
EA is offering the college football players $600 and a copy of the game.
And they're going to have ambassadors that make money.
Is that enough for you to allow you to be depicted in the game, or would you say, nope, I want more? And then they'd say, well, then you're not going to be in the game.
All right. I need story here. I don't need a computer freezing. I need a story.
Hey, David, I forgot to tell you this. Over the weekend, my dad and I were laughing about the your Kirk Herbstreit thing from a couple weeks ago about the dog.
And guess what? Guess what he had on Twitter this weekend?
His dog.
After he's doing one podcast after another, whining about how tough college football fans are being on him.
By the way,
yeah.
have you seen my dog?
Oh yeah, have you seen my dog? That's unreal. Does your dad agree?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was we were dying.
I found it. It's lame. It's where I pull the Letterman writer's embellishment from time to time on a good, bad, and ugly story.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty fired up for these Thin Mints.
Now, do you put them in the freezer? Or are you just going to take them down?
I usually take them down. They're good in the freezer, but I'm not that patient. Do you like? This could go one of two ways. Do you guys like Shamrock Shakes?
No.
No.
I don't mind them.
You just not for you. You're not a part of it. David, do you like Shamrock Shakes?
No, they're disgusting.
Chocolate or vanilla? If you do a milkshake, what are we talking?
I would do a chocolate. I'm weird. I would do a chocolate milkshake, but if I go to Culver's or something, I get the vanilla
custard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I got you. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Final segment of the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks for being with us. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. You miss any part of the show today, like Daniel Wallach's interview, in which, who knows, he may be before the Supreme Court arguing against the current Florida Gaming Compact because he wants it to be everybody involved, not just the Seminole tribe. That was last hour. You can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
I don't have much today, David. So I don't know if your site's a little more active than mine, but today we start in 1959, the inaugural Daytona 500. Johnny Beauchamp and Lee Petty finished side by side. Beauchamp is declared the unofficial winner, but that ruling was overturned 3 days later by Bill France Sr.
Is there anything more NASCAR?
It's such a great story.
I mean, really. How'd you get your roots? Well, let me tell you about our first race. We picked the winner.
3 days after the race.
When most people thought the other guy won, we said, no, Lee Petty won.
It was today in 1980. USA 4, USSR 3.
Do we have anything from that game? Al Michaels, Mike Eruzione, anything?
We do, but he's off in La La Land right now.
Well, he just bought Thin Mints, a Girl Scout cookie. So he's
I'm reading this
lost
email
us.
Mark sent me about the.
Yeah, exactly. He might have wanted to wait until the show was over.
We'll talk about that later.
That's my fault. 2015, Joey Logano won his second 500. And it was in 2018 that the U.S. women win gold for the first time in 20 years, beating Canada 4-3 in a shootout in hockey.
Yeah, we beat them in 98, and then they kept beating us for the gold medal for just about every Olympics.
Over and over again.
Yep.
George Washington, Charles Finley, Don Pardo, Ted Kennedy, Sparky Anderson, and Steve Irwin, all born today.
That's quite the dichotomy there.
It really is. Dr. J 74.
Looks great.
VJ Singh 61. Pat LaFontaine's 59. Michael Chain 52. And Drew Barrymore is 49. What did I miss, David?
And she also looks great.
She does. That one kind of stunned me when I thought she was a little older than that.
How old for Pat LaFontaine?
59.
Wow.
Right.
From the high slot, Easter Sunday. So we finished getting a hold of Florida today. Spain, remember, Ponce de Leon, Spain, claimed it first. We had to kind of finagle Florida. So today, Secretary of State John Quincy Adams in 1819, this is before he would become president, he convinced Spain to cede the rest of Florida to us. So there you go. We had Florida. Okay, then we gave it back to them, part of the Treaty of Paris, which ended the American Revolution. Why'd we do that? But anyway, so 36 years later, we said, you know what? Upon further review, we want it back.
We want that swamp back. Give it to us.
Right.
We're planning a neighborhood in Southwest Florida in Cape Coral, and we're going to need it.
So there you go. Today, 1819, the U.S., we own Florida for good this time. We're not going to let it get away.
We need a city with a 47th Street, a 47th Street Place, and a 47th Avenue, all next to each other.
Yep. I know just the place, too.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Iowa for the good, where Kevin Frey won a scratcher, a big one, $500,000.
Wow.
So he gives the ticket to the employee so they can scan it to make sure he was right. He said, I was shaking pretty good then, I think. And then he left and rushed out in the parking lot to call his family.
You don't leave the ticket.
There you go. His son said, send a picture of it. And he realized, holy crap, I left the ticket inside the store. The employee was so flustered, she forgot to give him the first time, and they finally got on the same page, and he has his ticket and his $500,000.
Man, talk about losing your wallet or your phone. By the way, I mean, you don't expect to win that much money with a scratcher either, do you? I mean, when you buy a scratcher, 500, 1,000, I mean, if you were to win 10 grand on a scratcher, wouldn't you go, holy mackerel? $500,000. I mean, literally, I'd be trying on multiple pairs of glasses. Give me your glasses. Why? This says I just won $500,000. I don't believe it.
For the bad, we go to New Jersey, where in Howell Township, they had to place the Gribbling School on lockdown after a shattered glass door was heard. Turns out it was just a deer that rammed through the door. Everybody panicked a little early. Everyone fine, including the deer, who was a little dazed. Finally, the ugly, we go to St. Petersburg, Florida, where mom's dropping off her daughter at daycare, and she left her driver's side door open. That's when 3 German shepherds slipped inside her car and wouldn't leave.
Okay.
According to Kiki, the German shepherds were holding her car hostage as she just needed to go to work. Police reported to the scene after the dogs wouldn't budge. One of the officers must have had a treat because they were able to coax the animals out. And finally, the lady was able to get to work. Anything for a ride in the car. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 22nd, 2024.
Would you buy that as a boss? Your employee shows up late. Why are you late? I dropped my kid off, and the dogs, these strange dogs, jumped in the car, and they wouldn't get out. Honest, I'd look right at and go, "Are you serious?
You're fired."
That's the best you can come up
Right,
with.
that's exactly. You're obviously not good enough to work here.
Right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to give you a chance to come up with something better, and I'll come back and I'll ask you why you're late. Okay? And when they start going, no, I mean, in theory, there's evidence left in the car, scratching, dirt, something. But I would be like, come on. That's the best you came up with. Dogs jumped in your car and wouldn't leave. Okay. What are we going to bet tonight?
David, not one game fits our criteria. There's the closest one. There's one ranked team on the road, but they're playing another ranked team. Arizona's a 12.5-point favorite at home against Washington State.
Yeah, I'm interested in the other one. It's not our system, but we have noticed this year that when a highly ranked team, not just, team 18th in the country, 22nd in the country, we're talking usually a top 10 team. When a top 10 team loses, their next game is oftentimes at home because often they lose on the road. And then they come home and they whack somebody. Like, we didn't play it last night because we had 7 games that we liked last night. But Marquette returned home after losing to UConn by 40. And they were 27-point favorites against DePaul, the worst team in the Big East. And that was stealing candy from the shop there. I mean, they were going to beat DePaul by 30, and they beat them by damn near 40. And we should have been on that one last night. So Purdue lost at Ohio State. Now Purdue's back home. They're playing Rutgers. Not a good road team. They've been better of late. They got this guy who wasn't eligible the first half of the year. He's played with them the last 10 games. They've been a tournament team the last 10 games. But still, Purdue at home. I say we lay the points with the Boilermakers. 15.5. That's a lot.
For Daniel Wallach, I want to let him know that I just placed that wager from where I'm sitting, and I'm not on tribal land.
This might be this snarkiest show, definitely since I've been here.
FGCU is a 3.5-point favorite tonight against Kennesaw, David.
Wow. Run that by me again.
FGCU is a 3.5-point favorite tonight at home against Kennesaw State.
Take them.
Kennesaw is not good on the road.
Wings up.
So we might have just bet Dunk City too.
I'm
Because
just
I
saying.
can't help having a little action tonight. Plus, that'll make me want to watch the game more.
I mean, Kennesaw's 3-9 on the road this year. That's a low number. I think I'd lay it.
And we did.
I would. By the way, do you know why we didn't have Mike Eruzione?
He's an AT&T phone?
Nationwide AT&T outage.
Kind of what I figured. That's what I was hoping for, at least, because he's been with us before, and he's a stand-up guy. I can't imagine he'd say yes and then blow us off. So I kind of had a bad feeling when phone was going right to voicemail that it was a cell phone problem. Magic are on the road tonight in Cleveland. Cleveland's a 6.5-point favorite in that one. The Heat have the night off as we return to action in the association.
I'm totally frightened of playing the association tonight. I don't know how
Good.
teams. I know.
That's a good thing. You're not good when you bet the association.
Well, I wasn't last week. Doesn't mean I don't always not know what I'm talking about.
Everyone can change.
Yous can change.
I was going to say, oh, is he quote Rocky IV
Yes,
here?
he is.
That's what I was going for.
That's
Yes,
exactly what he did.
It's it was iconic and all.
David, any chance I can quote Rocky IV, I'm going to throw it in there. Not
Wow.
often, but
Panthers are on the road in Carolina tonight, taking on the Hurricanes. Hurricanes are a slight favorite. The Lightning are monster favorites at home against the Caps, with all kinds of NHL games tonight. Wings and Avalanche, for those that remember that being a rivalry.
Yeah, that's a shame that it's not really a rivalry anymore. It was just a thing. It was like a 5-6 year thing. But it really, when we go back, it was the thing. I mean, it got a 30 for 30 and everything. I mean, it was an intense thing. But it just turned out to be a thing.
So big night in the NHL, big night in the association. Not a great night of college hoop. Lots of games, but you got to stay up pretty late to see the ranked game, which is Arizona and Washington State. That'll be at 10 o'clock tonight.
So there you go. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. We may be rescheduling with Mike Eruzione. I'm in the process of trying to do that now.
If you miss any of the show, go to all the usual places to download the podcast, or you can simply go to floridasportsnetwork.com to download any portion of the show that you may have missed.
And if you're wondering why Mike Eruzione, 44 years ago today, Miracle on Ice.
So
Next.
If it's 44 years in a day, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I totally. And next year, though, it'll be on the actual day of the week. Because, next year, the February 22nd will be a Friday, right? Or because a leap year, will it be 2 days? Will it be a Saturday next year?
I think the leap year throws it off.
Ah, that's right. Ah, bummer. Anyway, so hope to get him on the show tomorrow.
This whole leap year, for those of us that have to give up something for Lent, it added an extra day.
Oh, I didn't think about that. But
it's a longer Lent. My
You're
wife
right.
gave up drinking for 42 days or whatever the hell. I mean, this is she's going to be a lush on Easter Sunday. I can't wait.
7 weeks today, the Masters, by the way. So there you go. Which also makes you realize that March Madness will be over. The season will be over in less than 7 weeks.
oh, it's coming up quick. It's coming down the pike.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
Little conference tournaments are on the horizon.
Oh, yes,
That's
they are.
Week and a half away. Week of March 4th is when those suckers start. Oh, yeah.
Maybe Miller and Moulton's favorite college basketball week of the year.
Yep.
A little Arch Madness in St. Louis.
He's all fired up. He's on his own right now. Almost should let him finish the show. A football Friday. You know why? It's always Friday.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports